phrase that will pass his lips. We shall see.
I know Susie Dent was on with Colin Murray earlier today, 10 till 12 on 5 Live, her love of golf, but also her love of the dictionary. Maybe I need to consult my dictionary in future. Satisfied is definitely not the word. Brighton at home next, Wolves and Villa away for Tottenham. They're their next 3 games. Sunderland go to Villa, then host Nottingham Forest here before travelling to Wolves in their next 3. Different hopes and aspirations of these two, that if you'd said at the start of the season that one of them's dreaming of Europe and the other is dreaming of staying up, I don't think you'd have had it the way round that it is.
Well, we'll say at the start of the season before the first game, because I was at the first game here, West Ham turned up and I thought, well, tough time for Sunderland, and I was blown away by them, and I've been regularly blown away by them this season. I think they've been brilliant.
Tottenham have less than 90 seconds to get themselves an equaliser. Crossing from the right-hand side, dealt with by Sunderland between Lefay and Isidore. Oh, it's passed back by Lefay, and that's poor. Just gives Colin Moani a chance to clip in the cross over Matisse Tell. First on the scene with the ball on the left of the penalty area now is Destiny Udogie. Lays it back to Pap Sarr. Tottenham having to now try and break down Sunderland, who are in a defensive setup. Xavi Simons back towards the centre circle by a couple of Sunderland players, including Granit Xhaka. Kolo Muani on the right-hand side. Porro's first time cross is better from the right. Solanke can't get his head on it, and then there's a push and a foul in the penalty area. Sunderland have a free kick. Tottenham have 30 seconds left.
Yeah, but again, they did sit quite well there. They got the ball in the right areas. They zipped it about quite quickly, and they opened up the chance to put a cross into a very dangerous area. And Dominic Solanke, look, he's tried to muscle the 2 centre-backs out of the way. He couldn't. But I'll tell you what he's thinking right now, Dominic Solanke. He's thinking, why did you not do that earlier? He gave me nothing in the first half. He gave me nothing for about 60, 70 minutes. Whereas these last 10, 15 minutes or so, he's shown quite a lot more. But you can't do that for 10 or 15 minutes, especially not when you're down with Spurs on.
Glum-looking faces in the Tottenham end on our screen in front of us. Play goes on, we're past the 11 minutes. Sunderland leading by a goal to 0, but they've passed it out for a throw-in on this near side. So can Tottenham have one last attack here on 5 Live Sport? The referee keeps his whistle down by his side for now. Kinski has to go long, right-footed, under pressure from Isidore. Flicked on by Kolomoani on the halfway line. Solanke can't get in there first. It is blasted up into the stand on the far side of this sweeping arena by Omar Alderete. And there goes the full-time whistle. Sunderland take a crucial 3 points, but it's defeat for De Zerbi in his first game in charge. He had 7 games to save their season. It is now only 6. He shakes hands with Regis Lebris and walks onto the pitch, striding out to console some of his players. Destiny Udogie's down on his haunches. Van der Ven went to the floor. Tottenham have toiled, but again another game goes by where they can't pick up, let alone a point or 3. And Roberto De Zerbi becomes the second Tottenham manager of their last 11 to win his first game in charge. And it was also the ill fate of Igor Tudor before him. Tottenham are running out of time. 2 points is the gap to safety. Defeat here through Mukiele's deflected shot has given Sunderland vital 3 points, and the talk of Europe where the Black Cats are concerned isn't going away.
Yeah, I mean, fantastic for this club. I mean, the place was mobbed today. The noise was great, the excitement was really building in this part of the world. So, and of course, just add on top of that, the recent one against Newcastle as well, and they're leaving them behind in the league. So add all that together, we have a team that's lively, a team that's young, a team that's spirited, a team that's got real good quality and class, and a guy up front that every centre-back in the world would hate to play against him, Robbie. He gets the man of the match today with his eyes shut. He was fantastic today. He made that, I mean, he's a one-man forward line. He didn't score the goal, but he did absolutely everything else. You can hear these fans celebrating just now, and they will celebrate. Shame for them is, they won't go all the headlines, because all the headlines are going to be about Spurs. And Spurs are in deep, seriously deep. For all the effort today, how many real chances did they make in this game? Very, very few.
Sunderland, in terms of the headlines, couldn't really win today. It was all about how De Zerbi got on in his first game in charge. We are 12 days into the 4th month of the year. Tottenham have played now 14 Premier League games and are still winless. Watched on by the board, watched on by former players like Michael Dawson. They have fallen here at the Stadium of Light. Things are bright for Sunderland. Dark days still ahead for Tottenham. Sunderland 1, Tottenham 0.
No league win since December the 28th for Tottenham Hotspur and Pat Nevin. The reality is Spurs are 6 games away from the Championship.
They are. It's actually been a little while now. Now they're officially, for a couple of games now, they're in the relegation zone. You know, people are taking it seriously. It's been serious for much longer than that. It's been sitting there looking at you. And you've watched teams in the past, when they start to fall, they start to falter, they start to lack belief. They don't look like a team. There was no lack of effort from a lot of the Spurs players today, but there was a desperation about the desire. I'm not quite sure it was. And you're not going to get out of it. We had a chat before the game, didn't we? And I was saying to you, what do they need? And you're talking about different systems now. And I might have sounded a wee bit dismissive when I was saying, no, you've got to fight. You've got to battle first. Do that, because if you don't battle, you can do all the systems you like. You can do all the clever trickery things. It ain't going to work down there. You've got to get that first thing right first. And without saying, it's not that they didn't try today, but was there with desperation levels that they need? I'm afraid not. And that's a big worry.
It's like a leak that just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you feel like you're going to deal with it, and by the end of it, the ceiling's caved in the living room, and you're thinking, hey, what's going on here? Where do they pick up points now, Tottenham Hotspur? You look at it, they entertain Brighton next weekend, and that's going to be a mega game for Roberto De Zerbi against his former side. They play Wolves, Aston Villa, and then there's a mega game against Leeds United. Chelsea and Everton, their final 2 games, they could be both hunting for European football, and you wonder where they go now. Obviously Roberto De Zerbi's had a game in charge, but still it feels like they're running out of games to try and turn this around.
Yeah, Mike was talking about the statistics there, you know, from December. They've been absolutely awful. See, when you get into that sort of run, games that you thought, oh, we'll get something out of that, they don't feel that way anymore. Like Forest last week, for goodness sake, that was one you thought, stick on, got to get that, and absolutely blown away. You come away to Sunderland, and some people would argue not much to play for. They have the European football, an outside chance of playing for, but also their pride, and also the fact that they're still loving every single game in the Premier League. So, but you look at Spurs and they're thinking, well, where is the obvious 3 points come from? None. Absolutely none is the answer to your question there. Nothing feels easy, nothing feels certain, nothing feels as if, yeah, we can get those 3 and we can move on. So, I don't know where they're coming from. And the worrying thing is that I don't think the fans who, well done, can I say this just now? Spurs fans, well done you lot. Turned up huge numbers today, made a lot of noise, stuck by their team, even though it's been really difficult. There's a lot of things that they need just now, Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. See, one of the things they need, those fans will need to stick by them, particularly in those home games. You'll really be needed between now and the end of the season, or else we could be getting relegated.
Aaron, there's a gentleman who's just been on our TV screens. We can't see the Tottenham fans, given the way the roof slopes down here at the Stadium of Light. He's just sat on his own, grey-haired old man. He'll have seen it all with Spurs. He probably, with no offence to him, looks like he last saw Spurs in the second tier when they were there in 1974. But he was just sat there on his own, arms, his hands clasped together, almost contemplating what might be coming to this squad. And that's the feeling. Although the Tottenham fans did turn up today, and Pat's right, gave the noise when they could. When you look at fans like that who've seen it all, he'll easily remember the Champions League final of 2019. He'll remember the 1981 FA Cup victory, for example, 1991 as well. But he's staring at a team there that, although they tried towards the end, tried is the only word, it wasn't a bombardment, it didn't look threatening. Robin Roos, I think, made one crucial save at the end, palming it over the bar from that Porro shot. You didn't necessarily feel Tottenham were going to get a goal. Yeah,
they were the second best team. They were the second best team today, and that's where they're giving every bit of effort. That's when making the changes. But we must also underline, and this is maybe not good news for Spurs fans, they got really unlucky as well. When you're down there, that's what happens all the time. The goal is a spectacular deflection, which the keeper absolutely had covered. But it was painful ones. Do you know those, you were talking about things that, the leaks, etc., when it's leaking away. I'd go for the dream. You know that dream when you can't run? Your legs won't get moving. It's a bit like that with Spurs at the moment. Whatever they try and do, they just cannot get up ahead of Spain. And they just cannot get away from what is coming behind them. And what's coming up from behind them is well, A, possible relegation, and B, the likes of West Ham.
When it rains, it pours for Tottenham. Mike, Pat, thank you so much. Defeat for Tottenham Hotspur at the Stadium of Light. The bottom of the Premier League looks like this. Wolves, 17 points from 32. They are rock bottom. Burnley above them in 19th. They have 20 points. And then Tottenham Hotspur, 30 points from their 32 games with a goal difference of -11. Over the dotted line, their nearest and dearest, West Ham United, 32 from 32 after Friday night's win at the London Stadium. They have a goal difference of -17. Nottingham Forest have picked up a point today. They are on 33 points from 32 games. Leeds United play Manchester United tomorrow. Update to that one into the Monday Night Club with Mark Chapman, 33 points from 31. And then Newcastle United beaten by Crystal Palace are on 42, as are the Eagles. We will endeavour to bring you as much reaction to that game from the Stadium of Light as possible before we kick off here at Stamford Bridge. It's a 4:30 kick-off. Chelsea and Manchester City will do battle with City on the hunt for the Premier League title after Arsenal's slip off yesterday. Let's focus on matters north of the border, though. An absolute thriller in Falkirk in the early kick-off as Rangers came from 2-0 down to beat Falkirk 6-3 and head back into second place, just a point behind leaders' Hearts. Let's hear from the Rangers head coach Danny Roll.
Yeah, I'm proud of the outcome at the end. I think the start was very difficult, not what we want. You felt the first 10-15 minutes we need a little bit to adapt to the conditions. I will not say we were surprised, but then they played direct in behind. You come in 50-50 duels. We were not consequent in the counter pressing. And then it's difficult, then you are 2-0 down. But then the reaction from my group, I think, was crucial to score the 2-1 before the halftime. And then second half was just one direction. I think we played forward, we created a lot of chances, and finally then we deserved, because football is about 90 minutes. I think now 3 games in a row, 14 goals. I think that shows as well how we want to play, but we have to improve our defence, more clean sheet, and it's much easier.
So each of the top 3 in the Scottish Premiership won this weekend. Hearts, the leaders, beat Motherwell 3-1 yesterday. Celtic in third beat St Mirren by a 0-0. And of course Rangers, winners of that absolute epic at Falkirk this afternoon. They were 2-0 down and was sat 4 points off of the summit. Right now though, they're just a point behind leaders Hearts, with a better goal difference of +35 in comparison to Hearts' +30. So Hearts top, 70 points from 33. Rangers second, 69 from 33. Celtic 67 from 33, and Motherwell down in fourth, way behind, 54 from 33. This is 5 Live's Premier League Sunday, building up to kick off here at Stamford Bridge on a seismic weekend of sport. The Masters from Augusta to come later on, but at 4:30 we'll bring you full commentary of a massive game in the race to the Premier League title. Chelsea against Manchester City here from West London. We'll be building up to that after the latest news with Dan Maudsley.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
President Trump has said the US will start blockading the Strait of Hormuz shipping lane, stopping all ships trying to enter or leave it. It's been seen as an attempt to turn the tables on Iran, which Mr. Trump has repeatedly threatened for closing the vital trade route, a move which has rocked the global oil market. Well, posting on his Truth Social platform this afternoon, the president said the US would begin work to clear the waters of Iranian mines and also track down any ships which made toll payments to Iran to cross the strait. Our correspondent Azadeh Mashiri has been looking at his posts.
You may remember that there have been these reports that some ships have been able to pass through because countries have paid a very expensive fee to Iran, and our understanding has been that Iran wanted to preserve that arrangement. So clearly here Donald Trump is trying to address that as he's trying to wrest back control of that vital shipping lane.
Well, following that post, Iran's Revolutionary Guards have said that Iranian security forces have full control over the Strait of Hormuz and warn enemies would be trapped in a deadly vortex in case of any wrong move. Nigerian military jets have struck a village market in the northeast of the country with at least 200 civilians feared dead, according to a local councillor. It happened in a village on the border with Borno State, the heartland of long-running and deadly insurgency. The news agency Reuters reports the military was pursuing Islamist militants at the time. A man has been charged with murder after a 21-year-old man was stabbed at Primrose Hill Park in London earlier this week. Finbar Sullivan was found fatally injured after officers were called to reports of a fight at a popular viewing spot on Tuesday. 27-year-old Oli Uwadamilola Ogunyanikunu was arrested on Friday. He'll appear at Stratford Magistrates Court tomorrow. Voting is underway in Hungary, an election that could end Prime Minister Viktor Orban's 16-year hold on power. Opinion polls suggest it's a race between the party of Mr Orban, a Eurosceptic and an ally of both Vladimir Putin and President Trump, and the opposition party led by Peter Maga, a centre-right pro-European candidate. One of India's best-known singers, Asha Bhosle, has died at the age of 92. Recognised as the most recorded artist in music history by Guinness World Records, she was the first Indian singer to be nominated for a Grammy.
I'm Dilly Carter, and I love organising. In my brand new podcast, Sort Your Life Out Unpacked, celebrity guests join me to unbox 3 revealing items from their home. Oh, wow. I wasn't expecting this. Along the way, I'll be giving you practical hacks to help you declutter your life as well.
This is the tough love I need. Don't hold back.
I'm definitely taking you with me back to my house.
Sort Your Life Out Unpacked. Watch on iPlayer, listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sports with Aaron Paul.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
It really, truly is a massive day of sport here on 5 Live. We've already heard Spurs being beaten 1-0 by Sunderland, which puts Roberto De Zerbi's side 2 points from safety. Other Premier League results from this afternoon: Nottingham Forest 1, Aston Villa 1, and Crystal Palace 2, Newcastle United 1. We'll begin the build-up to our commentary game here from Stamford Bridge in a moment or so. But in the earlier game in the Scottish Premiership, it was Falkirk 3, Rangers 6. Only the second time this season that Hearts, Rangers and Celtic have all won on the same weekend. So it's as you were in the Scottish Premiership, with Hearts leading the way by a point, heading in fact around the split. And in the Championship, it finished Birmingham 2, Wrexham 0. Elsewhere at Wembley, a trophy on the line this afternoon. They're into the second half of the Virtue Trophy final. Henry Moran.
And Luton Town still leading by 2-1. They've turned things around in the first half. Early goal from Sidibe cancelled out with a lovely low finish from Emilio Lawrence before the veteran striker Naki Wells turned and finished beautifully to give Luton the lead. 2 years ago this weekend, they were playing Manchester City in the Premier League. It has been some fall since then, but they're now less than 45 minutes away from getting their hands on the Virtue Trophy. They lead by 2-1.
Henry, thank you. Let's bring you some live Premier League reaction here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Nico Williams is with Rob Law.
Thanks, Aaron. Yes, Nico, it was an entertaining game for a neutral. What was it like to play in?
Difficult. You know, we know Villa are a top side and they can cause us problems, especially with them going 1-0 up. We know the second goal was so important and we had to get that, and luckily we did. You know, we wanted to get the 3 points today, but at the end of the day we got a point, and that's so valuable at this stage of the season.
Talk us through your goal, because it was quite something. You're getting a bit of a reputation for this.
Yeah, it was just something that the manager's been telling me to do more, is shoot outside the box, and today I had a few shots and luckily one went in, so yeah, I'm pleased with that.
This now takes you 3 points clear of the bottom 3. Spurs lost to Sunderland today, so what do you make of where you are now in the table? It nudges you a little bit further away from danger. What is the feeling around the dressing room after that result?
No, it's positive. Like I said, every point at this stage of the season now is so important. And now with especially our last 2 games getting 4 points, it's a building block, and we've got to take that momentum now into the next game. We've got to treat these games now as a cup final, and we've got to try and get as many points as possible now.
Nico, appreciate your time. Thank you very much. That's Nico Williams with us on 5 Live.
Rob, thank you so much. Here at Stamford Bridge, the players have headed back into the bowels of the stadium as they prepare for kickoff, which is in around 12 or so minutes' time. I'll be in the company of Rob Green, the former Chelsea goalkeeper, and football correspondent John Murray. Gentlemen, welcome back. I mean, firstly, you can't not touch on Tottenham. Rob, what a big result that is.
Yeah.
At the foot of the table.
Yeah, you're looking for a response, weren't you? Manager's first game in charge, new manager, new bounce, new honeymoon period, what you're looking for, and it hasn't come. And you're feeling now for Tottenham that the problems are becoming too big for the players.
Oh no, go on.
Yeah, you look at how they went about today's game. The effort, the endeavour was there, but it's just not turning for them, and you really do fear for them.
Let's lay it out for the title race now. Flip the table on its head. Manchester City in second, 9 points behind Arsenal, who are top with 70 points. Rob, having watched Arsenal lose yesterday, what will those City players be feeling ahead of this one?
Well, it's an initial one of real excitement now, and one of belief that will completely change the team and how they've viewed this. And it's been building slowly for Manchester City. That win in the Carabao Cup really did ignite something within the squad, you felt. And you're looking at the starting 11, I've just been looking at it, Aaron, and 3 out of the 11 have won the Premier League before. That's it. You look out the whole squad of 20, there's 6. So there's something there that Pep's had to say to them, look, lean on the guys that have done it. But this is something that you can create that's new for yourselves, new for your families, new for a team. And it is a team that's been transitioning within this season, and all of a sudden you feel like something's clicked mentally, tactically, and also physically on the pitch.
John, we've seen Manchester City win the Premier League at a canter on many occasions now under Pep Guardiola. It felt like a foregone conclusion at times over the years. Right now, though, he's the chaser rather than being the chased. It must be a different feeling for him. But I don't know. Some have questioned his hunger and his desire to be at the football club. Surely this reignites the fire.
Well, I think I also feel like they've got a bit of something going after these big 2 cup wins that they've just had in the final and against Liverpool last weekend. But I have to say, several times this season, I've been lulled into that with Manchester City. And then they've dropped in a couple of results. And let's not forget, they've failed to win their last 2 Premier League matches. They've drawn their last 2 Premier League matches. However, here I go being suckered in again. I do think that they have got something, and I think it's not insignificant that he's effectively picked the same team. He's picked the same outfielders for this match as started in the FA Cup against Liverpool last weekend. So he's changed only his goalkeeper, Donnarumma, with Trafford on the bench, which, again, I think we were all expecting.
Are you suckered in for a story, John? You love a football romance story, don't you? Bernardo Silva potentially heading out on a Premier League title win?
Yeah, that's certainly one of the stories. And I think as well, you know, when we put it on the line here today, if Manchester City, and this will be, I'm sure, what they're thinking, if they win their next 3 matches, the middle one of which is against Arsenal, if they win those 3, then it's parity. They'll be level on points, and you'd think they'd probably be ahead on goal difference by that stage as well. So therefore, bringing it back to today, that's what does pile the pressure on today. And as Rob says, you know, not all of them are used to this pressure.
No, and you know, you look at it in the cold light of day, and yeah, they did lose yesterday, and it was a poor performance. I'd still rather be in Arsenal's shoes. I'd rather be in their position in the league. Give me the points any day. Give me the opportunities to go to the Etihad and really kill it. Nip it in the bud next week. I'd take that. But you look at the momentum, you look at how the teams are playing, you know, I'm not so sure.
Will Pep Guardiola have his toe down with the intensity on his players right now because of what we've seen with Arsenal, because this could be a seismic week in their season? You look at it again, as John's laid it out, you win your next 3 games and you're level on points. I mean, surely he's going hell for leather now. This is where you put your foot down.
Well, yeah, and they're having breaks. They're having breaks in the week. They haven't got Champions League football this week. They've got, you know, there's nothing that stimulates a player's adrenaline and also motivation, like saying, you win today, I'll see you on Wednesday, I'll see you on Thursday. You get days off. A player is motivated for that. You cannot buy time as a player. You love it when you win a game, you get days off. They will be looking forward to this just to get some rest as much as anything.
John, from a Chelsea perspective, winless in their last 9 Premier League games against Manchester City. I hate using the phrase bogey side, but it feels like it. Or is it just a bad run?
Well, you know, they've lost their last 2 Premier League matches. Chelsea, and yes, they won 7-0 against beleaguered Port Vale here in the FA Cup last weekend, but similarly it does feel like Liam Rosenior is trying to get a bit of momentum from what they got going there. He very much talked it up. I remember him coming on last weekend and heavily praising the performance, and yes, they're without Enzo Fernandez again, still no James or Chalobah. But, as soon as the teams came out today, Rob, you said to me, well, Harto's playing in central defence, and they've got 3 central defenders on the bench.
Yeah, and you're looking at it and you're saying that is the one point. You look at the goalkeeper. They've had debate about the goalkeeper this season. Who do they prefer, Jorgensen or Sanchez? I'm still in Sanchez's camp, but centre-backs, I'm not sure how many partnerships they've had now, but it's been an incredible amount of chopping and changing. And one thing you have as a weakness as a Chelsea team at the minute is that directness, that pace at the back two, at the centre-backs. They suffer from that, whether they've been playing Wrexham in the Cup or anyone in the Premier League. You go direct, hard and fast at them, they really have suffered. You get the feeling, with Erling Haaland in the form that he's in, they might do that the same today.
Liam Rosenior's named 18 different backlines in 21 matches now.
There you go.
Do you think that the feeling of the supporters towards the ownership will play a part potentially? If things aren't going well for Chelsea, you'll put pressure on it and create an atmosphere here this afternoon?
I think there's a difficult air now at Chelsea where the energy and dislike towards the club is such that if it's not going well on the pitch, it'll turn to ambivalence. And that's a real problem, that you turn around and go, you know what? If we lose today, that might stuff Arsenal a little bit. We'll actually enjoy that. That might be a good thing. But it's a problematic position that the owners have got themselves in now with the side, with the fans. And you look at someone like Cucurella, who come out and criticised the club externally and came out and spoke out against them. The fans are with him. The fans were there. They were there alongside going, actually, yeah, we think he's right. Shouldn't have done it, but he's right.
It's the unmistakable sound of Harry J. All-Stars and the Liquidated, which signals that the teams are out on the surface, led out by Bernardo Silva, steely-gazed. Manchester City, can they capitalise and move to within 6 points of the leaders Arsenal, with both coming together live on 5 Live next weekend? It's Chelsea and Manchester City this afternoon, live from the Bridge, in the company of former Blues goalkeeper Rob Green. But first, football correspondent John Murray.
Well, you're absolutely right, Aaron. This time next week, that surely will feel epic. So do not miss that. Be with us on 5 Live for Manchester City against Arsenal. But today, Manchester City have got to Stamford Bridge, and the target, very simple for Pep Guardiola and his team: win this and close to within 6 points of Arsenal.
Yeah, they sense it. You sense the occasion now for Manchester City. You sense the opportunity. They've had those really 2 convincing performances and wins in the respective cups that they had in the recent weeks. Transfer that into the form now. Transfer that into this final run. Give yourself every opportunity.
I enjoyed your little phrase, Rob, at the start of the afternoon. Manchester City have been given the bait. And now, and football can be delicious sometimes, can't it? Arsenal need a favour from Chelsea.
It certainly is something. It's one that, you know what, it doesn't come around very often, but Chelsea love to have it that it is. London is their area. London, they are the premier club of London. Well, to look at their priorities, look at their parameters of what they want to operate in next season. Champions League is seemingly a must. So this is a key game for them as well, not just for the 3 points, but for momentum in these closing stages of the Premier League.
So that is Rob Green with us, Premier League goalkeeper, England goalkeeper, Chelsea goalkeeper for a spell as well. And we are about to commentate on Chelsea against Manchester City in the Premier League. Just to run you through the teams in full, the 2 captains, Caicedo in the absence of Enzo Fernandez and Reece James. Caicedo just shaking hands with Bernardo Silva and the Chelsea players. Where are they going to do their huddle this week? Well, it's in the centre circle, but it's not over the centre spot.
Very respective, isn't it? In your own half. Quite almost Hacker-esque line there.
Yeah, Manchester City in their grey shirts, mainly grey shirts with the fluorescent yellow trim, are ready to go. Chelsea, who have Sanchez in goal, Gusto, Fofana, Harto and Cucurella, then Caicedo and Santos, Estevao, Palmer, Neto and João Pedro. And Manchester City, Donnarumma in goal, but other than that, the same as against Liverpool in the FA Cup last weekend. Mateus Nunes, Abdou Kadir, Husanov, Mark Gay, Nico O'Reilly, then Rodri with Bernardo Silva and Ryan Cherki, Antoine Semenyo, Jeremy Doku and Erling Haaland, scorer of the hat-trick last weekend in the FA Cup. So it is Chelsea against Manchester City. This could be the FA Cup final. These two sides will be the favourites to win the two semi-finals in a couple of weeks' time. But it's the Premier League today. There's the whistle from Chris Kavanagh. Bernardo Silva begins the match. He takes the kick-off. And Mark Gay's going to do well to keep the ball in on the far side. The former Chelsea youngster, remember Mark Gay. And in actual fact, in the end, the ball is deflected out off him for a throw into Chelsea, who are in the blue shirts, the blue shorts and the white socks. The sun is shining on Stamford Bridge. And with the angle of the roof, lengthways, about a third of the playing surface is in sunshine at the moment. That's our side of the pitch, the east stand side of the pitch. And Chelsea taking a throw-in back towards the edge of the penalty area. And we can welcome listeners, Rob, to everyone who's joining us via the World Service, wherever you are around the planet. It is a lovely spring afternoon here, but that tells its own story. When you can feel the warmth of the sun, that means everything is coming to the crunch. And Sanchez hitting a long pass downfield that Mark Gay will deal in an untroubled fashion with.
Yeah, afternoon, John. Hello, everyone. And it is Manchester City. You feel the dominant force in this game, confident on the ball, apart from Rodri's kickoff where he managed to pass it straight off the pitch. But they're aggressive. They're setting up pretty much in a 4-2-4 when they're off the ball and looking to press right onto the Chelsea back line and say, go on, what are you going to do? How are you going to play through us? We're going to press high. From there, saying Haaland up against Harto could be one of the key matchups today.
Manchester City with the ball in their own right-back area. Mateus Nunes hits it downfield. Here's Erling Haaland into the action. Just back in the goals now after his goal against Real Madrid and then the hat-trick against Liverpool. But in the Premier League, Haaland on a run of just 3 goals in his last 12 appearances, which, by his standards, is almost like a famine. Here's Nico O'Reilly for Manchester City as they play from left to right. So towards the Matthew Harding standards, worked forward to O'Reilly, the man who scored the 2 goals in the Carabao Cup final against Arsenal 3 weeks ago. Now it's out to Semenyo on the right-hand side. Semenyo taking on Cucurella, trying to go round him, and Cucurella does well, shoulder to shoulder, went to ground, left foot to it, put it behind, corner.
Yeah, that matchup, that pairing, Semenyo versus Cucurella, looking forward to that. I think that Cucurella thrives on games like this, and you're looking at other opportunities for Chelsea where you're going to say, where are you going to get out? How are you going to get out? Estevao back in the side, played last week, a real bundle of joy. You're feeling the opportunities are going to be few and far between, but they're going to have to utilise him. They're going to have to utilise those opportunities, Chelsea. Manchester City, they're going to find and pick and probe a way to get through the Chelsea line.
Corner, Semenyo's going to leave it for Bernardo Silva, who will take it back to Mateus Nunes. Mateus Nunes and Bernardo Silva exchanging passes. Now Bernardo Silva taking on the former Manchester City man, Palmer. Cross from Mateus Nunes, headed across by Gay, and crucially, Chelsea got a touch, but they haven't been able to clear that penalty area. They can now, however, and Pedro Neto keeps it in, comes back to Gusto in the right-back area, and he wallops it away downfield with his left foot.
Yeah, really big opportunity, that. Vital interception by Colwell, and it was just so easy, it was so easy for Manchester City to get the cross in.
Yes, it was, all built on the right-hand side. Now here is Semenyo again. 8 goals so far, scored the other goal in the FA Cup quarter-final against Liverpool. What a start he's made to his Manchester City career since his move from Bournemouth, where he wasn't doing too badly before that. Manchester City with Gay, right-footed ball, good start from Manchester City and Pep Guardiola. This Cherki, lovely first-time touch from him. just drew Neto in, then Shirky again into the box. Rodri with a chip to the near post, but Sanchez was in position to catch that, and then delivers it away downfield. João Pedro, he's optimistic if he thinks he can reach that. It bounces all the way through to Donnarumma.
Yeah, easy again for Manchester City. Time to pick their passes. Chelsea are dropping right to their edge of their own box and allowing Manchester City from 30 yards really to pick a pass, and you're just sitting waiting for the inevitable there, and it was Rodri to make the run into the position that we've all seen Manchester City score goals from before. Worrying signs very early in the game for Chelsea.
Yes, Liam Rosina, who's in a T-shirt. That shows you how the warmth of the London sun is. Semenyo cutting in from the right-hand side, trying to find a position on his left foot, but Caicedo is able to step in, breaks forward. Palmer is beyond Rodri. Palmer in the centre circle, lays it to his left. Pedro Neto. Chelsea have got only 2 men in the middle. However, Neto's done well to find Palmer. Palmer then drives for the byline, shoots from the angle, but from the tight angle, shot past Donnarumma, but into the outside netting.
Poor choice from Cole Palmer to shoot, and before that Estevao was free on the right in space, and you feel him, maybe that was the better option. He was the more central of the two options between Neto and Estevao. A little breakaway, a little bit of fortune for Chelsea to break away from there. Need to capitalise on those.
Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. Already a very eventful sporting day on a very eventful sporting weekend. We're keeping it across the Football League Trophy final, which is being played at Wembley, where Luton are leading Stockport by 2-1. And in the Premier League earlier, wins for Crystal Palace, a 1-1 draw between Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa, and Sunderland winning 1-0 against Tottenham. And we will have reaction at half-time, when I would be expecting to hear from Roberto De Zerbi, wouldn't you, Rob?
Well, you're thinking he's got a few questions to answer and say, all right, where are the goals going to come from? Because they need a few right now.
A careless pass from Nico O'Reilly. He passes it out of play and apologises to Mark Gay. Just seen a shot of Enzo Fernandez, who is here, Rob, as he was against Port Vale, so he's sitting. He's got a seat behind the Chelsea bench. White T-shirt.
Where I used to sit.
As Cucurella is bundled over by Husanov, and it's a free kick. Cucurella ends up in a heap on the ground, then he's up onto his knees, running his fingers through all of his hair, and Chelsea take the free kick back into their own half. Yes, Enzo Fernandez has got a pair of sunglasses on, and then Fofana misplaces a pass. It's Katchen, straight out of play for a throw into Manchester City on the far side. 0-0, very early stages. And the latest score in the Champions Cup quarter-final, by the way, Bordeaux 12, Toulouse 15. That was a 3 o'clock kickoff, as Semenyo trying to keep the ball in play against Cucurella. The ball bounces out of play, and referee Chris Kavanagh says throw into Chelsea, and he takes it back into his own half to Jarell Harto. And then João Pedro puts too much on that and passes it straight out of play, trying to just help it on down the line, but straight out for a throw-in.
Yeah, a few errant passes at the moment, but you can understand why from a Chelsea perspective, is because the fullbacks are the spare men. The way that Manchester City is set up tactically, saying it's a 4-2-4, you can imagine the two gaps either side of the two midfielders is where Chelsea want to get the ball. It's how they get it there as they're struggling with it at the minute.
Harto won it back from Haaland in the centre of the field, and now Neto's pass across, but Bernardo Silva steps forward. He half clears it away, bounces down for Chelsea. Neto, João Pedro from the angle, but Husanov using that extreme pace of his, the Manchester City defender. I mean, what a turn that was over a few yards. Just as João Pedro was looking to shoot from the angle, suddenly he was in like a flash and deflected the shot behind.
Yeah, looking like a really good defender now, isn't he, Husanov? He had to be there, he had to get across. João Pedro, probably the player out of anyone Chelsea fans would have wanted to see in that position, but it's a bit scrappy and a bit loose, but that's suiting them right now.
Yes, it is. 0-0. Pedro Neto hits a low corner across. Miss-hit it, really. Cleared by Semenyo, but it finds its way back to the Chelsea number 7. Then a heavy touch from him. And Shirky wasn't able to take up possession of the ball, so Chelsea come again. Palmer gets it down on the left-hand side. Remember Cole Palmer's penalty right at the end of the 4-4 draw in this fixture here at Stamford Bridge a couple of years ago. But generally, over recent times, Manchester City have had much the better of things against Chelsea. In fact, Chelsea have not beaten Manchester City since the Champions League final of 2021 in all competitions. Caicedo playing the ball over the top. Husanov, overhead kick away, comes out to Palmer. City just about got it away. Palmer shoots again, deflected, took the pace off it, and it bounces through for Donnarumma just to allow it to bounce up into his chest and catch.
Yeah, it was a really good run from Malo Gusto to get
Donnarumma in a little bit of trouble, but the big man was able to readjust as João Pedro was bearing down on him and passed it away. Now Palmer again, might have been took back by Rodri. Yes, free kick's been given. And now, without waving an imaginary yellow card, Chelsea, Palmer, Caicedo, Cucurella, of course, are doing everything but that.
Yeah, you can understand the argument. Cole Palmer's the wrong side of Rodri, and he's been held back. His shirt's been pulled, and
that's a yellow card.
That's a yellow card, yeah. I don't understand how Chris Kavanagh has not given a yellow card there.
I mean, that is, if that's on the edge of a yellow card, that is teetering over it. That is hanging on the edge of it with your fingernails.
I think that's a fairly good example of what is a yellow card.
I agree. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. On that subject, incidentally, both Caicedo and Bernardo Silva are 1 yellow away from a 2-match suspension. Neto curling this free kick in, but beyond everyone, Estevao, who I don't think I've mentioned his name yet, in terms of during the play of commentary, wasn't able to get there, and it's all the way through for a goal kick. And it's Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0 on 5 Live and the World Service from the BBC. Listen as well via BBC Sounds, where you will find both 5 Live and the World Service and the rest of BBC Radio. That's a little careless from Husanov. Sort of dwelt on the ball, gives it away. Chelsea come again. They've had a good little spell here, 5 or 6 minutes. João Pedro, Chelsea's 19-goal top scorer. 20's a good total, isn't it, for a centre-forward? Neto going back towards the halfway line, then Harto, and Chelsea go all the way back into their own half, where Caicedo is just going to pass it back to Sanchez, who gives it out to Santos, who was stretching for that, just about got it under control and passed away, and Chelsea do keep it. Palmer then to the right-hand side. Estevao was in an offside position, so it's a free kick to Manchester City, and Estevao's kicked the ball away, and that is a yellow card for Estevao, and Manchester City made sure the referee knew about that, but I think he knew about it already.
Yeah, no real excuses. It's in the book, isn't it? And he kicked it half a length of the pitch away. Frustration at himself. I think the opening 12 minutes, as you say, not really mentioned him, and they're showing his frustration. But Manchester City being a little bit sloppy, had a bright start, and all of a sudden you feel it's a little bit too easy for them on the ball, and they've started to take the time and be caught.
That's nice though. Cherky forward for Semenyo, but a cross comes Fofana to put it out of play. 0-0. Believe it or not, Manchester City have not won in the Premier League since February. Chelsea have not won at home in the Premier League since January. And Manchester City now, well, the pressure's on, and I think it is a fair question to ask. You know, might there be a few nerves out there? Not the way that Nico O'Reilly's coming forward, although he's just overhit that pass for Doku. Doku up against Gusto. Doku rides the challenge, or comes through the challenge, then cleared by Palmer. Comes back for Rodri, who's appeared on the left wing. Don't often see him there. Back it comes to Husanov. He gives it to Gay. This is all in the shadow of the West Stand. Husanov, nice and dainty from the big man from Uzbekistan. Now out to Semenyo on the right-hand side, and Mateus Nunes. Cherky manages to find some space here. A little step over from him. He is, he's not lacking in confidence, is he, Ryan Cherky, the number 10. I thought last week against Liverpool in the FA Cup, I think that was as good as I've seen him live. Doku now has it on the left wing. Doku running at Gusto, again into the penalty area. The ball deflects across the box. Bernardo Silva's up. Haaland's up as well on the edge of the area. Doesn't know where the ball is, and that meant that Harto could step forward and head it away to the halfway line. 0-0, Rob Green.
Yeah, there's very few opportunities, or very often few players actually outside when Manchester City get forward, outside the width of the 18-yard box. It's so congested, so narrow. You can understand why Chelsea's set up like that. I think Manchester City are doing it and saying, well, we don't want to get broken on, we just want to control the game. That's their go-to when they're being defensive in attack. It's just very quiet. It's really hard to break through then all of a sudden.
Looking down from high up here, staring down on the heads of the two managers. Can just see Liam Rosenior's glasses glinting in the sunlight. He's standing, what, about 5 yards to the right of Pep Guardiola. First time that he's taken on Pep Guardiola in a managerial sense, as Husanov just passed the ball out of play there, so throw in for Chelsea. City have got it back though. Doku sweeping it away from the challenge that came in on him. He's, I think, suggesting it might have got a touch from Caicedo, but referee Kavanagh says it's a goal kick. And these are very much the opening exchanges, Rob.
Yeah, there's two teams looking at each other and not particularly impressed with either side's passing ability right now. There's been a lot of errant passes.
I think there might be a few nerves out there. You know, I imagine when that match unfolded yesterday, there would be the initial rush for everyone connected with Manchester City, that the door had been opened. Then I suppose for the players, the realisation will dawn on them that then the expectation now is high that they come to Stamford Bridge and win this game. And Cucurella passing it forward to Neto on the left flank. Then infield to João Pedro, who's very deep, but now weaving his way forward, gives it to Cucurella! Left foot, offside! Goal ruled out, and the celebrations are stuck in Chelsea throats. Well, the flag was very decisive from, I think it's Ian Hussin, who's on the far side, the assistant. And as the ball was passed forward by João Pedro, I think he probably is, but it is tight.
I'm not so sure, you know. This is tight. It's the back leg of Kusanov against the left shoulder of Cucurella. He had an acre of spacing to run into. He's offside. It must have been tight.
Well, that is one. That's a clear one for the semi-automated offside, and it hasn't taken long for them to prove that the assistant was right. What a great decision that was. If that was offside, that is a great assistant's decision. As Doku now into the penalty area, but in comes the challenge from Gusto, and Palmer was there as well. Chelsea are working hard here. You know, that it feels like quite a number of the Chelsea players have got two different jobs. But now O'Reilly finds himself in space near the byline, tried to cut it back. Andre Santos was there though, threw himself in front of it, went to ground, and it's behind for a goal kick. And we're just seeing on the big screens here, so the fans can see it as well, and there are groans down in front of us. The offside decision, listen to them grumbling about that.
He was offside. It was a part of his body. A lean of the body was enough.
And it was half a body, a third of a body.
You go to wonder and say you're in that much space, and you can see right along the line. You don't need to be offside.
Still 0-0. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. Chelsea have had the ball in the net. Corner is taken by Manchester City. Bernardo Silva being put under pressure by Caicedo. Rodri receives it on the right. And then Mateus Nunes, a high crossfield pass. Doku has to just step back and take it down with his right foot, and then uses the available Shirky, who's coming in from the left-hand side, playing it into the penalty area. O'Reilly was there, but Chelsea's defenders did their job for Fana. And then Estevao collides with the referee, Chris Kavanagh. Both go to ground. Referee doesn't stop play. Estevao gets back up, gets the ball, hits it downfield with his left foot. Ball bouncing for Neto on the left wing. Neto coming infield, beats the challenge from Mateus Nunes. Then Rodri goes to ground, and Neto hits the shot, which is saved by Donnarumma. Straight at him, but at pace. And the Manchester City goalkeeper blocked it behind, round the near post for a Chelsea corner.
Well, for a big man, he got down really, really well. It might well have been straight at him, but it was awkward for the goalkeeper. And Cucurella did well because he came back from an offside position and decided just to leave it for Neto. Not the cleanest of strikes, but as a keeper, you sometimes make a decision to go with your foot when you should go with your hand, or vice versa. He made a good decision there.
Corner is taken short by Chelsea. 0-0, 5 Live from the BBC with the World Service. Neto now. Another offside decision as Chelsea pass it around in little triangles. And it's a free kick to Manchester City at the back. So almost 20 minutes played here at Stamford Bridge. It's still Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. And from the sunshine of Stamford Bridge back to the sunshine of Wembley and Henry Moran.
Well, it's rather overcast here, actually, John, but it is into the final 5 minutes of the 90. Luton leading by 2-1, having turned things around after an early goal from Stockport. This would be a real tonic for Luton fans who have been through quite a lot in the last couple of years. Heading towards added time, Luton 2, Stockport 1.
Such are the vagaries of the British weather.
Well, we can't see...
How far is that? That must be about 6 or 7 miles away from where we sit here.
Well, we can only see one bit of the sky, and that is in the right direction. It is quite cloudy.
See, it is quite cloudy over there, above the little patch that we can see, above the Matthew Harding stand. But sun currently shining on Stamford Bridge, where it is 0-0, and Doku on the right-hand side. Doku giving it back to O'Reilly. And now Mark Gay again, turning and rolling it to the left-hand side. Gay and Husanov again. Neither Stones nor Diaz involved. Gay plays it into the box. That's headed away by Fofana. And then headed back by Neto to Cucurella, who quickly controls it and plays it away. And then there's a foul on Mateus Nunes on the halfway line. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. It is this Liam Rosenior's 21st match in all competitions as the Chelsea manager, or head coach to be more precise. As I say, they've lost their last 2 Premier League matches without scoring a goal. The 3-0 defeat at Everton, losing 1-0 to Newcastle here, as Doku finds a way through against 2 men and shoots, but straight into the legs of the defender. Then Bernardo Silva tries a shot, that's blocked as well. Shirky on the edge of the area, he's tackled by Caicedo, and then João Pedro is fouled. And then, for some reason, Husanov rolls down onto the ground. Then Palmer tries to take a quick free kick, kicks it straight into the back of his former teammate, Rodri, who was turning his back on that. But I think the referee's back was turned to it at the time. And by the letter of the law, that could also have been a yellow card for Rodri.
Why? He can't disappear. And so he's not specific directly in front of him.
Certainly not his size.
No. But it's interesting that Chelsea, and Robert Sanchez was culpable of it very early on in the game, going forwards very, very quickly. It's a clear directive, get the ball maybe out to Neto or to Estevao, just get it up there as fast as you can.
As Estevao is dispossessed, ball runs to Shirky, referee waves the advantage. Haaland tried a little flick, that didn't work, and Chelsea were able to clear it with Andre Santos. And then back to the halfway line it goes, and City will actually go back to their goalkeeper. So 0-0, almost midway through the first half here. And actually, the big chances so far have been Chelsea's, haven't they? For Palmer, his shot, the Neto effort that was saved, and obviously Cucurella converting the ball into the back of the net, but having been narrowly offside when it was played through to him. So 0-0. Haaland holds the ball up, passes it to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva claims that he was caught there by Palmer. However, the City attack continues. Shirky trying to pass it through the inside right position for Semenyo, but Chelsea were able to get all the right bodies in all the right places and prevented that ball from travelling through into the penalty area. And now goalkeeper Sanchez has it, just hitting it away downfield. Groans there from some of the home supporters. Sanchez just hitting it down and giving it possession back to Manchester City.
Yeah, well, he's trying to hit the front man, and the front man's not there.
Doku now on the left wing, again running at the Chelsea defenders. Gusto backpedaling back into his penalty area. Estevao helping him out. Manchester City have to find another way, which they look to do with Gay and also Bernardo Silva away over there on the far side. Bernardo Silva, who last weekend made his 450th appearance for Manchester City in all competitions, and it kind of appears that he will definitely be leaving at the end of the season. if that's not a contradiction in terms.
So, Pep Linders seems to be fairly certain, doesn't he, the
yes,
assistant?
He came out and did all of his talking after the Liverpool match when Pep Guardiola was suspended, remember? And I know I was there, I went down and spoke to him, and I thought, goodness me, he's talkative, isn't he? Maybe a little too talkative.
Yeah. Is it loose lips and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. Rodri, now to the left. Doku's ball through hits the heels of Nico O'Reilly. Yes, Pep Guardiola wasn't getting drawn into that on Friday, was he? Still continuing to keep everyone guessing. Go back to Wembley again in a moment, but City with Semenyo on the right, and then should be cleared, although it's actually won back by Bernardo Silva, Mateus Nunes, Husanov, and then Rodri, Mateus Nunes, Semenyo. The ball just rolls to him, and then Shirky comes and says, give it to me, Ryan Shirky. And City are having lots of the ball here inside the Chelsea half. Chelsea are having to be content out of possession. Semenyo now on the right. Just not got that zip, though, for Manchester City. Maybe this man will provide it. Shirky's pass, high over the top of everyone else and through for a goal kick. It remains 0-0 at Stamford Bridge in the Premier League. But in the Virtue Trophy final, Henry Moran.
Into added time, but that should do it for Luton. A second of the afternoon for Nahki Wells, turning in the box, finishing low, and on a ground where they gained promotion to the Premier League 3 years ago. It's a different trophy today, but surely now the Virtue Trophy heading to Luton.
Yes, Luton Town. And I wonder what the attendance is at Wembley today. It will be a big crowd as Estevao is offside 10 yards inside the Manchester City half. My guess would be certainly over 50,000 at Wembley for what Henry rather amusingly referred to as El Hatico, both clubs with the same nickname. There are a few of them, aren't there? Clubs with the same nicknames. Magpies, for example.
Or City, or United. Those
not really nicknames, though, Rob. As Husanov has the ball at the back, and Shirky, then back to Mateus Nunes. Semenyo, though, just not able to get the ball under control. Chelsea come through the middle, and the sunshine has disappeared here, and a cloud has obviously passed over the sun, and we are in shadow. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. After they drew 1-1, remember, at the Etihad Stadium back in January when Callum McFarlane was in charge. Here is Doku. Doku taking it away centrally, all the way through to the middle to the edge of the penalty area, and at the crucial moment it just ran away from him. I think a defender might have got a foot in on it. Fofana was able to clear, and then Estevao was tugged back by Nico O'Reilly, and Chelsea fans again inside the ground, not for the first time today, baying for a yellow card for a Manchester City player that doesn't come.
Yeah, clear directive again for Chelsea. Get it forwards early. Well, Doku there getting fast and furious forward, but he just, like you say, just lost control of it. Most City attacks have gone through Doku on their left-hand side, and it's just a little bit too narrow elsewhere, so there aren't really the options other for him just to keep on driving through the Chelsea defence.
Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. Palmer just ahead of the halfway line, but Bernardo Silva was able to get a foot to that, and Donnarumma coming trundling out to his left, knowing that Palmer wasn't far away, has taken absolutely no chances there whatsoever and just passed it out for a throw on the right. None of your fancy Edersons.
No, the goalkeeper's worst nightmare. Just on your weaker foot, bouncing ball, going out for a corner. I really don't want to have to kick this, but everyone is expecting me to do. Good, experienced decision from Donnarumma.
I would call it safety first. I'm always a big fan of safety first.
Can't score from the stand.
You cannot. If that had been Ederson, it would have been a couple of keepy-uppies. He would have bounced it off his nose, done a Cruyff turn. Here's Estevao on the right. João Pedro. João Pedro then cuts back. In comes the challenge from Bernardo Silva. And Chelsea have been able to get it back from him. Bernardo Silva. So it might be the final weeks that we're able to watch him in the Premier League. Depends, of course, what happens to him and where he goes. But Palmer for Manchester City through the middle. Rodri's able to step in though, but Gusto is able to take it up again for Chelsea. Gusto's got João Pedro got away from Gay, but couldn't stab it goalwards. Got his left foot to it, but I've got a feeling he kind of got his feet mixed up and in the end just stabbed it wide.
Yeah, I just don't think he thought he could get there. It was a really good ball in, and he feinted to go far, which drew Mark Gay, and then went near. It was just possibly half a yard too quick for him. Just wasn't going to get across to it and get the touch, a significant touch on it to get it goalwards.
Yep, ball up towards the halfway line, but Doku has fouled Gusto, and that's a free kick to Chelsea inside their own half. And Gusto, I think, is okay, just being helped to his feet. Mentioned the fact it was his 450th appearance. Bernardo Silva is just speaking to the referee at the moment. This is actually his 297th Premier League appearance, which is a record for a Portuguese player in the Premier League, which I presume is a record for forever in the English top flight. I can't imagine there were too many Portuguese before 1992. Oh, brilliant skill from Neto down near the corner flag to beat Mateus Nunes, but Rodri was very much alive to the danger, came out, snuffed it out, put it behind corner to Chelsea, though.
Yes, you're thinking it's not been a great opening half hour of football, but Chelsea have held their own, and they're looking possibly the more dangerous team when they do get forward.
Corner taken short again, then headed across by Cucurella, clawed away straight into Bernardo Silva, hit up in the air across the box by O'Reilly. Donnarumma has to change direction, punch it away, still on the edge of the area. Palmer for Neto, Neto trying to go around Rodri, and the final touch was... City players are trying to make it look like the final touch was off Neto. Actually, the offside flag is up, and it's a free kick to the visitors.
Yeah, Donnarumma he's proactive, isn't he, in his goal when the ball's in the air, loves to come out, loves to look for things, and I think he's learning. He's been in the Premier League for 30 games or so now, and he's learning that a clean catch is a rare thing for a keeper.
And referee Kavanagh, accompanied by Bernardo Silva, has walked into the Manchester City box. Donnarumma's complaining about something and seemed to be grabbing his own shirt, so suggesting that he was having his shirt pulled by, I wonder who.
I think he's saying that Cucurella was pushing his teammate onto him and causing the collision between Rodri and Donnarumma.
Cucurella doing something he should.
A bit of skullduggery, who knew?
Cucurella now, that's not as good as I thought it was going to be. Passes it over the head of Neto and out of play, and Liam Rosina suddenly appears. He's decided that with the sun disappearing, he needs more than a t-shirt down there, so he's got an open-fronted black hooded top on now. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. Pep Guardiola standing quite serenely. There's been very little animation when I've been looking down there on him. So it is 0-0 with over half an hour played, and were it to stay like this, then the Arsenal lead tonight would of course be 8 points, and that means it would be in Arsenal's hands. But there's a long way to go yet. Here's Doku on the left wing, back to Rodri, and then Rodri just rolls his foot over the top of the ball, gives it to Husanov. Shirky comes short, and now Semenyo on the right-hand side. Semenyo to Shirky, and this is patient stuff from Manchester City. As I say, 1-1 draw when the sides met in Manchester at the start of the year, when Liam Rosina, he was saying in the build-up to this match that he was actually at the airport preparing to come to London to take the job, as O'Reilly into the penalty area. Palmer stands up strongly against him. O'Reilly then turns again, but showed too much of that, and it was cleared away by Santos, and then the ball ricochets downfield. Donnarumma came, went back. João Pedro trying to get there. Donnarumma then changed his mind again, came, did get there, and then Mateus Nunes shoved over by Neto, and it's a free kick to Manchester City.
Yeah, his first and his third decision were the right ones to come and clear the ball, and eventually got there in the end for Donnarumma. But it's a funny position for Manchester City, because Andre Santos is doing a lot of work as a third centre-back, and therefore really are having to start Doku very, very wide. Probably needs a bit more support out there.
Doku again. Early ball this time. O'Reilly pulls it back. Bernardo Silva with a chance. Blocked by Sanchez, and Haaland couldn't get there. It was actually defended very well. Back to the goalkeeper, or at least the goalkeeper was defended by young Harto, and Sanchez was able to gather it with some relief, and then delivers it downfield, probably 30 yards or more beyond Neto, so more groans from the home supporters, even though he's just made a very good save, Sanchez, to keep it at 0-0.
There is Robert Sanchez. Really sharp save, brilliant save, reaction save, and then poor distribution. But he's got the 8 seconds, and he's only got a limited amount of time in that to make a decision, and there isn't the opportunity to play short, so he has to go long. He completely mishit that one. He got that one wrong in terms of execution, but there's no option for him to do anything other than that.
Still 0-0. And at half-time, we will have more on Sunderland's win against Tottenham. As I say, I'm expecting to hear from Roberto De Zerbi at half-time. Crystal Palace 2-1 winners against Newcastle. We might well be hearing from Eddie Howe as well. And what a match as well. Falkirk Rangers at lunchtime. Well, last I heard it was 2-0. Next thing I heard it was 6-3 to Rangers. 2-0 win for Birmingham as well against Wrexham. That's damaging for Wrexham now, 4 points behind Hull City in 6th place. As Shirky, he's in step-over mode here. Left foot, 2 step-overs, then gives it to Semenyo. Now Shirky, once again, it runs away from him, so Neto says, yep, I'll have that. And in comes Neto, takes the ball away, gives it to Estevao. Mark Gay up against Estevao, going with him. Estevao continuing down the right wing, tries to come in between Gay and Shirky, and then concedes a foul. Wasn't much in that, as City play it back to Husanov, and then Gay is able to pass it forward towards Shirky. 0-0 here at Stamford Bridge. And it is full time now at Wembley with you, Henry Moran.
Luton 3, Stockport 1, Jack Wilshere's side winning the Virtue Trophy for a second time, coming from behind. 2 goals from striker Nahki Wells, enough. And close to 50,000, not quite, see Luton win the Virtue Trophy by 3 goals to 1, beating Stockport.
OK, thank you, Henry. Hopefully we will hear from Jack Wilshere during the remainder of 5 Live Sport this afternoon. 0-0, and Chelsea conceding a free kick, which has not gone down well with the home sections. Manchester City take it, giving it back to Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva now working it back to Doku. His ball across the penalty area, cleared away by the outstretched left leg of Palmer. And indeed, at half-time, we will be hearing from Roberto De Zerbi after Tottenham's 1-0 defeat, and Eddie Howe after Newcastle's defeat from 1-0 up at Selhurst Park. And we will be returning to Augusta as well on what is the final round day of the 90th Masters. And tonight, the coverage will begin a little earlier than last night, because it's an earlier start, the possibility of a playoff, of course. So the final pair out from 7:25, and that will be on 5 Live with Mark Chapman and the team, Ian Carter and co, out on the course. Don't miss it. Could be a thriller. Semenyo playing the ball in from the right, blocked away by Neto. Chelsea come forward, and then Semenyo, a little trip on Neto. He goes sprawling, and the yellow card is out. I thought it might come this time, and it has. For Semenyo.
Yeah, frustration for Semenyo. Second yellow card in the game, and one that, similar to Estevao, just the wide man getting frustrated with the game and how it's going. And Manchester City really aren't making inroads like they'd like to get at the Chelsea back line, because they're dropping in, because they got that back 5 essentially when they haven't got the ball. Neto and Estevao having to commit a lot and be really, well, they're just having to commit a lot of energy into breaking out. It's their roles to get out for Chelsea.
Cucurella's pass forward, that's cut out by Mateus Nunez. Still 0-0. If Manchester City don't win this, they will have to do something that has not been done before if they're going to win the Premier League. And this was a little line from our BBC colleague Chris Collinson. And I'll tell you what it is when I get a chance, because you're going to have to concentrate, Rob, with this one. You have to pay attention. Here's Harto passing it back towards the edge of the penalty area. Caicedo there. Looks to his right, Fofana. Now to Gusto, as well as the 3 central defenders who were on the bench for Chelsea today. It's been lost, and now it's been taken forward by O'Reilly. Shirky with a shot. Sanchez is able to make the save. He didn't gather it at the first attempt, but with Haaland arriving, he was able to scramble and grab it.
Yeah, not a clean save, but good reaction, good grab. But and he there momentarily because they had the ball. Chelsea were out of shape. It's one of the better opportunities for Manchester City. Few and far between where they've had an opportunity really to run out of the back line.
And Manchester City have got it just inside their own half. Bernardo Silva, Shirky, who hit that shot from round about the edge of the penalty area, but it was close enough to Sanchez. Hit with good pace though, could easily have bounced off the goalkeeper, and Haaland was lurking. And then Semenyo draws a foul from Harto, and that is a free kick to Manchester City that Rodri wanted to take. I'm not sure Palmer was 10 yards away from that when he intercepted it. Haaland, though, suddenly arrives back on the scene like a man on a mission there against Cole Palmer to take the ball off Cole Palmer.
Well, he's barely had a kick, has he, Haaland? I'm feeling he's going to get one of those stats at half-time that sometimes we dread to see, that it's saying he's had 3 touches of the ball or something in the first half, but it's not going to be many more than that, is it?
No, it's not. Victor Gyökeres is prone to those sort of statistics as well, isn't he? Semenyo, challenged by Cucurella, comes back to Bernardo Silva, still 0-0, just a bit of movement now towards the exits, even though still 5 minutes to go. Gay, now to the far side to Rodri, Shirky. Feels like Manchester City will have had significantly more possession in the match, but I think, still it is Chelsea who've had the clearer opportunities to score, although Manchester City have now created a couple. Doku taking it down into the right full-back position. His cross comes off Santos. It's behind. It's a Manchester City corner from the left this time.
Yeah, and Rodri and Nunes had the ball in the middle of the pitch, in the middle of the Chelsea half, and there wasn't one Manchester City player beyond the right-hand side of the 6-yard box in line with it on that side of the pitch at all. There is no option at times for Manchester City out wide on the right.
Corner then from the far side as we look, and Sanchez is being crowded. There's an absolute gaggle at the near post, taken short, ball crossed into the penalty area by Doku. He's half claiming that it struck an arm in there. Referee Kavanagh not interested in that. Manchester City have come again down the right wing with Bernardo Silva running at Cucurella. Neto's there as well. Cucurella blocks the cross from Bernardo Silva. They still haven't got it away, and then Caicedo draws the foul from Rodri, and it's a free kick to Chelsea. And what it is, Rob, that Manchester City would have to do that has never been done before to win the Premier League is to have as few as, well, either 61 or 62 points after 31 matches, and yet still go on and win the league. But
so they're not going to do it.
Is the right question. Here's Gusto. Things like that. It's a bit like flying to the dark side of the moon, isn't it? Got to do it sooner or later.
Well, yeah. It's only a stat because it hasn't happened yet.
Harto and Caicedo with the ball in the centre circle. Palmer. Now Gusto. Estevao up against Bernardo Silva, twists him one way. Estevao still going. Oh, Bernardo Silva did well there. However, it's taken up by Santos, then out to Gusto. They wanted Santos to shoot. Gets it back, crosses it in, but big Donnarumma comes lumbering out, all in pink, which I think makes him look even bigger, and he's able just to stretch forward and pat the ball down.
Yeah, few and far between, but there's one in the first half for him. Nice easy claim for him, a slow ball in, and the opportunity was the first time to get the ball across.
Ball passed forward by Doku, but that's deflected out of play. In actual fact, producer George Rob has just found how many touches Haaland has had so far. How many do you think?
It's not 10.
Correct, it's 9.
Ah, there we go.
Full marks. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0 in the 44th minute. And the Manchester City fans, who've been given renewed hope by Alex Scott's winner at the Emirates yesterday, and that Bournemouth performance and the Arsenal defeat, just thinking that there is the possibility here that the opportunity might not be taken. And it looks as though on the match that we've seen so far, if it carries on like this, you would say there might well not be much in it. Bernardo Silva, his pass forward. Mind you, I remember thinking that in the FA Cup at the Etihad shortly before half-time last weekend, and before I knew it, it was 4-0.
Yeah, it's not clicked yet for Manchester City at all. It hasn't worked. What they've tried hasn't really happened.
Oh, Chelsea just getting away through Caicedo and Fofana. Actually, City have got it back. Bernardo Silva then hits it in at pace. Shirky was able to control it on the edge of the D, but Chelsea are back in numbers now. They've got everyone back in the right places. Husanov's pass, crossfield. Gusto comes forward, clears that away. Nico O'Reilly, though, back for Manchester City. Then Shirky. Palmer was right tight and close on the Manchester City number 10. They come again down the left-hand side with Doku. Doku then just rolls it close range to Shirky, a step over. Had a little look goalwards. Then he plays it square to Mateus Nunes. Now Semenyo up against Cucurella, tries to find the position in the D, shoots, and it was deflected wide of Sanchez's dive down to his left and behind for a corner to Manchester City.
Yeah, that's where it brings you, Semenyo. Finally getting the ball out wide on the right and squaring up Cucurella, going inside him, going inside Neto, going inside Cole Palmer. Wasn't a well-struck shot, but that third centre-half at times, Santos was there to get a little nick on it.
Do you know that might well have been bound for the bottom corner without that deflection.
Well, very slowly it might have been.
Corner. Bernardo Silva to the back post, and Joao Pedro was there. Did he get a touch? No, he didn't. It went all the way through for a goal kick. Gay was trying to get there for Manchester City, and we'll have 1 minute of added time at the end of this first half, which has been close and entertaining.
Yep, and the winner so far has been Arsenal. You feel after this, and you're fearing the charge from Manchester City hasn't really happened yet. It hasn't really worked out in this half. It's been a little bit clunky, a little bit predictable. Too much for Doku, not enough from Cherki in terms of creation. Really, he's had the space and the time, but not enough really.
They'll be going through the ringer, won't they? Everyone connected with Arsenal. Those Chelsea chances as Chelsea win a free kick halfway inside the Manchester City half. Arsenal trying to win the league for the first time since 2004. Runners-up in each of the last 3 seasons. And it's a little bit like Nick Hornby's fever pitch all over again, isn't it? Now we get to this stage of the season for Arsenal supporters, whether they are going to have what they need to get over the line.
They don't have Gus Caesar playing for them, though.
Just as well at his age now. Free kick, Neto curls it in. Oh, what a chance for Andre Santos at the back post, but got underneath it, headed it nowhere near Donnarumma's goal. Last chance of the first half, and a wild header wide. 0-0, Rob Green.
Yeah, free at the far post, free with the opportunity, quality not there. I think that about sums up the first half. There's been glimpses of both teams sort of having openings, having looks at how to break through the opposition. It's not really happened for either side, and Manchester City need to come up with a different answer so far in the second half.
So there we are at Stamford Bridge, this match that Manchester City know they have to win to narrow the Arsenal lead back down to 6 points at the top of the table. Chelsea, of course, need the win as well for their own reasons. Champions League qualification. At the break, Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. And on 5 Live, Aaron is here with us, high up in our commentary position.
Henry Moran wasn't lying, was he, when he said it was overcast over in Wembley, because there suddenly is quite a chill over Stamford Bridge. Wind blowing 0-0 here in the race for the Premier League title. Live on 5 Live, we'll have reaction to the early kickoffs on the way, including hearing from the Spurs boss Roberto De Zerbi following his side's 1-0 defeat at Sunderland earlier today. We'll also be in Augusta ahead of a huge final day of the Masters. That's all after the latest news here on 5 Live with Dan Morty.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Donald Trump has said the US Navy will blockade any and all ships trying to enter or leave the vital Strait of Hormuz shipping route.
We're putting on a complete blockade. We're not going to let Iran make money on selling oil to people that they like and not people that they don't like, or whatever it is. It's going to be all or none, and that's the way it is. And it'll be, you saw what we did with Venezuela. It'll be something very similar to that, but at a higher level.
Well, that was the president speaking by phone to Fox News Channel's Sunday Morning Futures a short time ago. He went on to say that he understood Britain would be sending minesweepers. The BBC has approached the Ministry of Defence for comment, and he addressed this weekend's direct talks with Iran in Islamabad that ended without agreement.
We had a very intensive negotiation, and toward the end it got very friendly, and we got just about every point we needed, except for the fact that they refused to give up their nuclear ambition. And that's the only point, frankly, to me, that was the most important point by far.
Well, Iran's delegation leader said the US failed to gain Tehran's trust during the lengthy negotiations. Israel and Lebanon are set to hold their own talks in Washington next week. A man has been charged with the murder of Finbar Sullivan in North London. The 21-year-old was stabbed in Primrose Hill on Tuesday. Oluwadi Damilola Ogunyankinu, who's 27, will appear in court tomorrow. Reports from Nigeria say military planes have struck a village market on the border of the northeastern states of Yobe and Borno, killing dozens of people. Residents and local leaders said the Nigerian Air Force had been pursuing Islamist militants in the area. And Hungarians have turned out in record numbers to vote in their parliamentary election, which could end Viktor Orban's 16 years as Prime Minister. Polls predict a loss for Mr. Orban, who sought to block support to Ukraine and has been accused of undermining Hungary's democracy by the EU.
McIlroy for the Grand Slam. Sends it forward. He's done it!
When the putt dropped, it wasn't necessarily the relief of winning the Masters finally, it was the relief of getting through that day.
And he sinks to his knees.
Oh my God, I've done this thing that I've always wanted to do. And then the joy came and the tears and everything else after that.
At very, very long last, Rory McIlroy is the master.
The Masters 2026, live from Augusta. Coverage of the final round starts tonight from 8 on 5 Live and BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sports with Aaron Paul.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Yeah, half-time here on 5 Live's Premier League Sunday at Stamford Bridge, where rain has just started to fall in the capital. Earlier on, though, we brought you Roberto De Zerbi's first game as Tottenham manager. His side suffered defeat at Sunderland. Spurs remain in the relegation zone, 2 points behind West Ham. Here's the Tottenham boss with Chris Sykes.
I think we played a good game, especially in the first half. We deserved to score one goal. We had 3 chances to score. In the second half, we lost 20-30 meters on the pitch. We had another important chance with Richarlison just 2 minutes before to concede a goal. We suffered another injury with Romero. I hope it's not a very important injury. We can play better, yes. We can do something more, yes. We can be with more energy and enthusiasm. Yes, we can enjoy more with the ball, yes. We can be stronger, yes. But in this moment, it's tough, no?
You've been here about 2 weeks now with the club. I mean, did you see out there today signs that the players were sort of taking on board what you're trying to put across?
No, less than 2 weeks, 10 days. But yes, I'm happy for that. I'm really happy because they are following me in a good way. We are going through a very difficult moment. My players are not used to fighting in this position of the table, for sure. But I give you my word, they are good people and they are suffering a lot for this situation. For that, I believe in them. If I have to fight with one player, for me, it's not a problem. But we don't need to make any policeman inside of the dressing room. But I would like to be a big brother, I would like to be a father, a friend, to help them to show what they are able to do.
The thoughts of the Tottenham boss, Roberto De Zerbi, following his side's 1-0 defeat at the Stadium of Light at the hands of Sunderland. Elsewhere, Newcastle's miserable run has extended to 3 straight defeats after losing 2-1 at Crystal Palace. Here's head coach Eddie Howe with Andy
tough one to take because, again, we've got ourselves in a winning position. We've done the hard work of getting ahead and we haven't followed the job through and defended well enough for the whole 95 minutes. Really we're in a tough moment, you know, to follow on from the previous games, to play as well as we did for 60 minutes without being, you know, really creating as many chances as we want to. I thought we were in control of the game.
And you know I'm going to ask you about the penalty. Have you seen it? Have you got thoughts on whether it was fair?
I haven't seen it. I've seen it live, and people have told me that Sven had a bit of Lerma's shirt. I think it was soft. I think it's one of those that if he doesn't give it, you know, he probably doesn't overturn it with VAR and vice versa. But he did give it, and we have to accept we made a mistake.
Newcastle boss Eddie Howe with our reporter Andy Stevenson. In the other early kickoff, a 1-1 draw between Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa sees the tricky trees 3 points clear of Spurs above the relegation zone. 6:06 on the way after us here, following the game between Chelsea and Manchester City at Stamford Bridge. Robbie Savage in the hot seat this evening. Evening, Rob.
How are you, Aaron?
Yeah, very well, thanks, pal. What a weekend of football. Congratulations, by the way, on hitting the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, thank you for seeing Forest Green. Yeah, it's going to be tough, the playoffs. Looks like we might finish 5th, 6th or 7th, trying to get 5th, Aaron, for that home quarter-final, but it might be, you know, just I think Scunthorpe will get that. But listen, it's been a great season, and as you know, the playoffs, anything can happen. On the title race, Arsenal, you were on yesterday, weren't you, with Chris? Chris said, give Arsenal the title months ago. What's going to happen, Aaron? Any calls on it last night?
Yeah, we had a few. Chris also said that Sunderland would get relegated, but
yeah, he did, and what a win that was for them against Spurs in the bottom 3. Wow. Quite incredible. Spurs fans obviously want to let us know what you think of De Zerbi's first game in charge. Watching your game there, 0-0. City have got to win. They've got to be more urgency in the second half, especially with Arsenal dropping points. As you say, Forest with a good point. Luton winning the EFL trophy at Wembley. Was it 3-1 finishing against Stockport?
Yeah, last time they won it, they had 30 points deducted. It was a terrible season for him in the league, but a massive season for them. Yeah, really good for him.
To Jack numerous times this season. Yeah, well, obviously they beat us in the FA Cup, but real good guy. Delighted for Jack. And what about the title race in Scotland? Rangers, was it 2-0 down? Did it finish 6-3?
6-3 it did.
Oh, what a game. So is it now the title race, Hearts, Celtic and Rangers? Quite incredible. Looks like Chris, you know, is going to get lots wrong this season, isn't he, Aaron? You know, he probably won't admit it. Probably sit on the fence, won't answer any questions on 606. But you never know. 08285 909 693.
Looking forward to it. Join Robbie and Chris, 6:25 here on BBC Radio 5 Live. Before we take you to Augusta and round 4 of the Masters, it's going to be special. Let's talk cricket now. Day 3 of the County Championship today. Let's head to Kevin Howes, who can bring us up to date, Kev.
Lots of weather interruptions here, I'm afraid, today, the second weekend of the season. However, there is still lots going on over on Sports Extra. Here at Trent Bridge, now the sun is shining. Defending champions Notts declared earlier today 311 for 9, leaving a target for Glamorgan, a big one, 478. The visitors got to 83 for 1 at lunch. The rain arrived, no play until around 10 minutes ago, though Glamorgan have lost another wicket. They sit on 92 for 2, 386 off that target. Acer Tribe, the much talked about opener, is 62 not out at the moment. We have one result from earlier. Somerset's Craig Overton led them to a 10-wicket victory over Essex. A target for Sussex to chase down at home to Warwickshire. It's 328. They're 181 for 4 in Leeds. Hampshire declared 351 for 5. Yorkshire therefore chasing 426, already 7 for 2. Leicestershire away to Surrey. They've passed 600 runs at the Oval in their first innings, 648 for 6. It's a lead of 128 runs, and a standout score from Old Trafford in the second division. Lancashire in their second innings, 56 for 5. It's a lead over Derbyshire of just 33 runs.
Kevin, thank you. Every ball of every game of the County Championship is live and available for you across BBC Sounds and the BBC Sport website. Let's head live to Augusta now. Full commentary of the final day of the Masters en route on 5 Live. After 6:06 this evening, we'll bring you every shot of Rory McIlroy's round as he attempts to defend his title. Trish Johnson and Kat Downs will be part of our commentary team. This could be a tense 18 holes, so Rory couldn't. McIlroy playing with Cameron Young, both starting on 11 under. Trish.
Yeah, fascinating day in store. So many big names at the top of the leaderboard. Obviously, Rory, after a pretty tough day on the golf course yesterday, but he hung in there and he's got still in with every chance. But that leaderboard, to me, the top 6 players, I look at it and I think any one of them can win. I can't remember the last time at Augusta I can remember saying that on a Sunday.
Yeah, there's 8 players within 4 shots at the top of the leaderboard. Who's likely to make a run? Scotty Scheffler at 7 under. All eyes on him, world number 1.
Yeah, world number 1, not coming into this Masters on the very best of form. He won at the start of the year, but he's not had his A game since. But his 65 round this course yesterday, his best ever at the Masters. And remember, this is a man who's won the title here twice. So Scotty Scheffler, a big name to keep an eye on. I think in past years, if he was 4 behind going into the final round, you'd probably put the green jacket on him straight away. But as I say, questions about his form. Big names to look out for elsewhere, though, as Trish was talking about. Justin Rose is 3 back. Remember, he lost the playoff to Rory McIlroy in the dying day of the final round last year, 12 months ago. 3 times a runner-up here. He would dearly love to win the green jacket, 13 years since his first major championship victory. And Shane Lowry as well, the Irishman, the 2019 Open champion. He's just a couple back, playing in the penultimate group alongside Sam Burns, the American, who hasn't yet won a major championship. But yeah, Cam Young, Rory McIlroy with that slender lead going into today's final round of just 1 shot at 11 under par.
Trish, talk to me about Rory's performance. I mean, the leaderboard doesn't lie, but I mean, there's been some question marks over it, a few groans here and there. What does he need to do to retain this title?
Well, to be honest, I think he's done a remarkable job. We've talked about it here on the 5 Live team, and really and truly he's playing with probably his C or D game from tee to green. His short game has been absolutely A+, magnificent, but somehow he's got to have found either last night or this morning on the range a feel that has him hitting the ball much straighter than he has. He's got the 2-way miss going with his driver left and right, and that all stems from the same problem. He hasn't hit really, you know, considering how many tee shots he actually has hit straight. He's hit no iron shots stiff at all, so he's had no tap-in birdies. So he's got to find something out there. But I tell you what a gutsy round of golf that was yesterday, because once he made double at 11 and then he bogeyed 12 as well, that round really could have got away from him and he could be 3 or 4 behind, but he hung in there. He made birdies coming in. Yeah, he dropped 1 at 17, but he's still there or thereabouts. And there's not many players, in fact, I'm not sure there's any player that could have their C or D game from tee to green and still be leading the Masters going into the 4th round.
And I think, Aaron, the other thing that he has to do, as well as finding something technical in his swing and tightening that up, is to lean on the memories of last year. You know, this is Sunday at the Masters. The pins are all in very familiar positions. They'll have made the course a little bit more gettable, so there's more drama. There are more birdies, more eagle chances. And Rory McIlroy will know that he delivered last year under the biggest pressure, under the most difficult circumstances, and he managed to get the job done. So he needs to look back on that and take all of the positive memories from last year and just go out there and do what he does best.
And we will bring you all the drama live here on 5 Live from 7:25 this evening. Day 4 of the Masters, live from Augusta. No one does it better. In tennis, Jannik Sinner has beaten Carlos Alcaraz in straight sets to win the Monte Carlo Masters. That means that the Italian has now reclaimed the spot as world number 1 from Alcaraz. Both teams back on the pitch ahead of the second half. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. I really do hope it's better than the absolute diesel oil that producer George has given me. He calls it a coffee, John Murray. I'm not sure what it is, but it's not good.
Well, up here, Aaron, next to the top of the stand, it's very much instant coffee out of a jar, I'm afraid.
I mean,
and that's
make it a bit better with that.
Yeah, well, not really. Those are the tools he has to work with.
You were waxing lyricals about the stand at the start. This is the other side of it that you have to deal with. It has rudimentary facilities.
Thank you, Aaron. There's the whistle. The second half begins. Cole Palmer takes the kickoff all the way back to his goalkeeper, Rob Sanchez. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. And listening to Robbie Savage there, who'll be presenting 606 on 5 Live later. Rob, I thought he was absolutely right. For Manchester City, they need to show a little more urgency, don't they?
Yeah, urgency is the word, and a bit more composure at times. It was scrappy at times, and a bit lack of composure between players, between passes, and just finding that fluency that they showed so well in the last couple of games to really take the game to Chelsea, to take this title to the finishing line.
That's Rob Green, former England goalkeeper, and we're watching Manchester City on the attack down the left wing under cloudy skies here at Stamford Bridge as Bernardo Silva passes it behind Doku, and there's a bit of frustration out there on the pitch. The players couldn't help but their body reaction, their body language just betrayed how they're feeling about this, and I think there is that little bit of tenseness. Chelsea with Sanchez in goal, Gusto, Fofana, Harto and Cucurella. It's the same back four as at Everton, incidentally, when they lost 3-0. Caicedo and Santos, then Estevao, Palmer, Neto and João Pedro. And Manchester City with Donnarumma in goal, and then the same team as against Liverpool last weekend. Doku playing it in, Haaland, chance, blocked though by Harto. Bernardo Silva then crosses it after it deflected to him on the left, and Chelsea were able to scramble that away as well. Excellent block from Harto when it looked like Haaland was in. Here's Doku again for Manchester City, but back to O'Reilly, and Manchester City have got to find a way through Chelsea again, but that's the first opportunity of the second half. 0-0 as Semenyo gives it back now to the shot across the face of goal from Shirky that he's claiming took a touch, and referee Kavanagh agrees it's a corner to Manchester City.
Yeah, better from Manchester City, bit of urgency in front of their fans. It did open up for Haaland. I think it caught him by surprise because it wasn't a great shot, it wasn't on target, but Harto didn't know that, had to get across and make a block, and then Shirky saw him dilly and dally a bit in the first half. Real direction there.
Yeah, and he was quickly across to take the corner, which he does, and he's mishit it, but Palmer, in trying to hoist it away with his right foot, he sliced it straight out of play into the lower tier of the shed. This corner is taken short and quickly by Shirky. Doku challenged by Palmer. Doku goes down immediately. Palmer, who put in the challenge, he looked at the referee. Bernardo Silva has gone over to referee Kavanagh. Doku is now back on his feet, walking back towards the halfway line. Bernardo Silva and João Pedro, and the referee gives the indication, I think, well, I'm assuming this is what it means, that VAR have had a quick look at that and have backed up the referee. No penalty, goal kick Chelsea.
Yeah, there's a slight step across from Cole Palmer, but more of a shrug, get off type scenario, and that was about it. But it opened up for Doku. He's not seen a lot of the ball, but there were instances there where he got help in these opening 3 minutes, and the angles all of a sudden changed for Manchester City. It opened up. They really have to find different angles because of that tight back five when Andre Santos drops in and Chelsea hunker in down on the edge of their own box.
5 Live from the BBC. The World Service are back with us as well as the sun comes brightly out again on Stamford Bridge. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 0. If you weren't listening in the first half, Chelsea did get the ball in the net, but Cucurella was ruled offside by VAR as Manchester City attack again. We are seeing that urgency, and as Rob Green suggested, they're attacking towards their own set of supporters in the 2 tiers of the shed stand, and Shirky has succeeded in winning a corner off the defender Cucurella for Manchester City from the right-hand side this time, so it'll be an in-swinger that will arrive from the right. In it comes and is headed away by Harto, hits Palmer and then is cleared away. Chelsea had everyone back there, cleared to the halfway line. Just out of the corner of my eye, Rob, on the little screen down here, I saw a replay of the Palmer challenge on Doku. That is probably going to be referee's call, isn't it?
That's I think the good term for it is you can see it one way or another, but referee Chris Kavanagh saw it as the way of Cole Palmer just shrugging him off.
Semenyo now on the right for Manchester City, playing it back towards Bernardo Silva. Rodri gives it back towards the little Portuguese, the Shirky it is over there on the right-hand side, the French international. Shirky with the ball at his feet, left-footed, clipped in. O'Reilly with the header! There's the opener! And it's Nico O'Reilly again! He is so good at getting himself into these positions. 2 goals in the cup final, and now breakthrough goal for Manchester City here at Stamford Bridge. That's big, and it's Nico O'Reilly, and it's Chelsea 0, Manchester City 1.
Well, it's
it's taken 5 minutes of the second half. Manchester City have come out completely transformed, and it's down to Cherki. He's just turned around and said, I'm going to take this game by the scruff of the neck. There's no surprise that he's provided the assist, a bit of quality out on the wing. And if you watch the game on Friday night, Manchester City's goal is very similar to West Ham, and Mavropanos' header just stealing in at the far post, 6 yards out. He doesn't even have to jump. It is Santos he's up against. That third centre-half, all of a sudden, it's a mixed mismatch. He's your left-back in the centre-forward position, scoring a header. Manchester City steal a march in the start of the second half.
Manchester City in front, winning as they knew they had to here today. 1-0 with that goal in the 51st minute. And Nico O'Reilly making it now 9 goals for the season as Erling Haaland catches a ball amidships and crashes to the ground, and he's out of the game for the moment. And in any case, this Manchester City attack comes to nothing. But the City fans, this is them that you can hear now. I think they've been tense as well with the match as it's unfolded to this point. But singing Nico O'Reilly's name again, Rodri helping the ball forward, but Chelsea have got it back on the edge of their own penalty area. So Nico O'Reilly's best goal-scoring season of his career so far, gets better. That's 5 in the Premier League, and as I say, 9 in all competitions. Those 2 goals at Wembley 3 weeks ago, the day after his 21st birthday. What a time of his life.
Incredible. And you wonder, I know he's played in various positions this season, but you used to sit in the dressing room and the manager will start the season and say, well, I expect 1 or 2 goals maybe from my fullbacks over the course of this season. The way that they play now, or the way that O'Reilly plays now, as almost as a centre forward, you say, well, it could be any number, really. You get provided quality crosses like that from Cherki. Go stand in there, go put yourself in there. He's certainly providing a real option for Manchester City for goals.
Chelsea 0, Manchester City 1. A goal early in the second half. So now Chelsea have to come from behind. Chelsea, who themselves are staring at 3 defeats in a row in the Premier League. And Husanov hitting a long pass. Oh, what a touch from Semenyo. Beats Cucurella, shoots across goal, but actually Haaland stumbled in the middle. Whether there was a collision there, I'm not sure. He ended up on his knees. But that was brilliant from Semenyo. Long pass from Husanov. What was that, Rob? Probably 40, 50 yards. Cucurella was at close quarters, and the touch was superb.
Yeah, incredible ball, incredible touch, and he got inside, and Cucurella had to have everything about him just to step back inside and get a block on it. His argument to his assistant referee down on the far side that he was offside. I think he might have had a case against Semenyo, but it was a wonderful ball and touch.
Yeah, and the cross, or shot, if it was a shot, actually, as you say, Cucurella did get his foot in the way of it. It's a corner. As a result, then Cherki plays it in. That's headed away by Fofana on the edge of the 6-yard line. Manchester City come again, and they are sniffing the possibility of a 2-goal lead. That would be very, very hard for Chelsea to come back from. They've barely got out of their own half in the second period, Leroy Rosenior's team. And I see there's a bit of movement going on the side of the pitch, wondering if Liam Rosenior might be thinking of a change, perhaps. Cherki back towards Gay, and Pep Guardiola as well, much more animated now than he was in the first half. Cherki, man who set up the goal, his pass, another delicious pass for Semenyo, and then Bernardo Silva back to Mateus Nunes. He finds Cherki, corner of the penalty area, rolling his foot over the ball. He has the look, Cherki, doesn't he, of a man who absolutely loves being in possession of a football.
Yeah, just give me the ball, you'll get it back, and I'll do something with it at some point. And he's come out at the start of this second half and just gone, I'm going to take this game by the scruff of the neck, I'm going to do something. And you feel Manchester City accused of anything, like Robbie Savage was saying, maybe in possibly second gear in the first half. I feel this is gear 4 or 5. They really have sort of nullified anything Chelsea have and then gone, right, we're taking the game this way.
Yes, and the lines are open for 6:06, by the way, right now. Ball played over the top, Mateus Nunes volleys it back across. Haaland trying to get there, but Fofana got up high, actually did well. headed up behind. This Manchester City pressure is relentless now. This is typical them. They've got the goal, no let up. They are sensing that they have an opportunity to seal the victory here in this period of play.
We can win this in the opening 20 minutes of the second half, much like they did at Wembley in the Carabao Cup against Arsenal. Chelsea, this has been their problem all season. When another team change gears, they just haven't had a response at times.
Yellow card for Cucurella in the middle of all that. I wonder if he disputed the corner, perhaps. It's for dissent. So Cucurella booked. Corner taken short by Manchester City. Shirky and Doku together. It's Doku up against Palmer. Then he finds Shirky. Shirky away from Harto, running from left to right, trying to find a position. Stabs it into the box. Shot! Lowered in! Mark Gay makes it 2-0! Against the club where he started. Mark Gay running away, punching the air. And now Manchester City have that 2-goal cushion. They've started the second half in a way that Chelsea could not live with. And it is 2-0 now to Pep Guardiola's team, winning at Stamford Bridge just as they had to.
They have come out in electric form in this second half, and it's Cherky again with the assist, dancing across the edge of the box, riding challenges, takes the short corner, gets it back, give me the ball, I'll do something with it, dribbles, round 1, round 2, round 3, and then founds Mark Gay with a lovely outside of the football. He takes a really good touch and drives it in the far corner. Chelsea just cannot live with Manchester City. Very few can when they're in form like this. They have been electric in this 10 minutes.
Yeah, and Shirky at the heart of it, providing the balls for both goals. But Mark Gay's finish, crikey, he turned it to Didier Drogba.
It was a wonderful, really good touch, because it's such a fast ball to him with the outside of the foot. I mean, Cherky's seen him quicker than I think he knows that he's in space, and he's just gone bang, there, have that.
Chelsea 0, Manchester City 2, and the nervous, tense Manchester City fans are now jubilant. And Arsenal from North London can probably hear the heavy tread of Manchester City on their tails. This scoreline, this would take it to 6 points. And this time next week, it will be Manchester City against Arsenal. 5 Live will be the place to listen to it. If you're on the move, if you're out and about, we will have the commentary on 5 Live and the World Service next Sunday afternoon, 4:30 kickoff. Do not miss it. Tonight, the Masters, as this brilliant sporting weekend continues. I hope you heard the commentary on the Grand National yesterday, which was a real thriller. John Hunt in great form tonight. Ian Carter possibly describing another Rory McIlroy Masters win. We'll see about that. The last pair are due to tee off from 7:25, so McIlroy and Cam Young, and 5 Live will be on air at that point. So it's just an hour of 6:06 tonight, possibly just a little bit less than that, but the lines are open to talk to Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton on 08085 909 693. Chelsea coming forward. We've barely seen them come forward in the opening 15 minutes of the second half. Liam Rosina just watching on down below with his arms crossed, and that's excellent play from Shirky, dragging the ball back, playing it down the line for Semenyo to take it on, and then Semenyo is challenged, is fouled by Caicedo, and it's a free kick to Manchester City on the right wing. And Ryan Shirky is absolutely in his element.
He is ticking, isn't he? He just had that little skip, that little trick on the touchline, and he fell away off the pitch as he did it, and just turned to the Chelsea fans and smiled at them. It's just that joy, that confidence is just something that you just love to see in a player, and infuriates the life out of you when you're playing against it.
O'Reilly crossing from the left, that could be dangerous. Fofana just got there with his head. Haaland was behind him. Manchester City are all over Chelsea here, but despite all that, there's a feeling here among the neutrals, and certainly among the Manchester City fans, you're thinking, just give it to Shirky. Bernardo Silva though in the box. Doku, Bernardo Silva trying to get there. Chelsea have half cleared it, and then Estevao is shoved over by O'Reilly, and it's a free kick to Chelsea. on the edge of the area. But Ryan Shirky, who has provided the pass for both goals here today, 22 years old, born in Lyon, but I have a feeling I know exactly what he was like when he was 15, when he was out with a football, probably when he was 12, possibly when he was 5, with a football at his feet. He just has that youthful joy, doesn't he? And Shirky, Ryan Shirky, is a cheeky chappy as well. Cheeky Shirky. Here is Husanov in the centre circle. We saw his keepy-uppies, didn't we, at Wembley in the final, which seemed to infuriate some people.
Riled the opposition a little bit, somewhat, didn't it? And you just feel that you say, well, if you can just bottle that and then open it out when you can in the right times, the right moment. He's certainly done that in this opening 15 minutes of the second half.
Yes. I can think of a few players from years past who would possibly take their opportunity to kick him up a height as City lose it on the halfway line. O'Reilly might have a problem. He's down, but this Chelsea attack breaks down. And they're too anxious, Chelsea, now, when they do get a rare opportunity to come forward and the ball's been put out of play. And O'Reilly, after going down, has stayed down, and the medical people are coming straight on. I think they're already preparing Ait Nouri to replace him.
Yeah, I think it's a hamstring. I think it was very quickly just sat down and went, oh, that's something. You feel that this game might already be sealed. That might be done. Absolutely no risk for Pep Guardiola now, and this is the beauty of his squad. He's got one ready-made replacement already.
Yeah, just waiting to come on. So Chelsea 0, Manchester City 2. 2 goals within 6 minutes early in the second half from Nico O'Reilly. So this clearly a setback for him. He'll miss a period of time. And Mark Gay scoring what is his first Premier League goal for Chelsea, his second, having already scored in the FA Cup against Salford. And a big time for him as well, having captained England for the first time from the start of the match, Mark Gay, against Japan a couple of weeks ago. He's so understated, Rob. I spoke to him after that match, Mark Gay, and you know, he's such a gentle individual, and it's almost as if when you speak to him, it's almost like, why are you wanting to speak to me? So, well, you have just captained England for the first time.
He's someone that you look, and I think Kushanov's been a huge improvement at centre-back for Manchester City this last few weeks, and his pace, his aggressiveness, but then someone who's just stepped into the team and just gone about his business, like you say, in a very unassuming manner, much like he is off the pitch, has been a huge addition for Manchester City.
So here is the change, and actually just having a little look there at the body language as O'Reilly left the field. We'll find out later or in the next couple of days, but perhaps it's not too serious for O'Reilly.
It wasn't one where he went down clutching it, he went down feeling it, didn't he?
He did. But anyway, Ait Nouri is on. Manchester City leading 2-0. Chelsea just looking for foothold here, facing the possibility of losing 3 Premier League matches in a row without scoring a goal in them, as Gusto is dispossessed and Doku is away. Liam Rosina is calling his team back to try and get into position. Doku's still going. Ait Nouri was just on his heels a little as the pass was played, and then he fouls Santos, and it's a free kick to Chelsea down by their own dead ball line.
Oh, Ryan Cherky was free for about 25 yards running alongside Doku, going, just give me the ball, just give me the ball. I have no idea why he didn't. Just give, whenever you've got the ball and you're a Manchester City player now, you're looking for one man and one man only.
As Chelsea are dicing with danger, as the ball was played in to Caicedo, had Haaland just next to him, but was able to head it across to Fofana. I think Garnacho is, yep, here he comes. Just as I look down there, he just steps forward up from that little area where the seats are, steps up onto the pitch side. So Garnacho has still got plenty to prove, hasn't he, under Liam Rosina. He's certainly not been a regular starter.
No, he seems to prove it as a sub at times, though. When he starts, he's poor, and certainly he needs something right now, Liam Rosina.
Yeah, he does. 2-0 down here to Manchester City. And coming into this match, remember, after Liverpool's win yesterday, Chelsea 4 points behind Liverpool. Shirky into the box on the left-hand side, tried to pull it across for Haaland, but Sanchez was able to dive forward. and intercepted the Chelsea goalkeeper.
His awareness of where the space is brilliant. It's just his movement, and he just drifts, and all of a sudden, how he finds 10 yards of space, I've no idea.
He's got elements. We'll come back to that. Joao Pedro passing it for Cucurella. Palmer with a chance, shoots, it's deflected off Gay, who dropped in front of the Palmer shot, and it took a flick off the Manchester City defender Mark Gay in over the bar corner.
Yeah, rare break forwards. There's the overlap on the far side. Cucurella getting forwards and cutting back to Cole Palmer. We've not seen anything of the magic of Cole Palmer, really. Didn't look overly confident stepping over that.
Here's the Chelsea corner. It's driven deep to the back post and headed goalwards, and Donnarumma comes right arm stretching and got a fist to it ahead of Joao Pedro. Comes back for Chelsea, dead ball line on the left. Palmer turns, Mateus Nunes, and as he pulled it across, I think the ball was out of play. It was, so it is a goal kick, and cheers from the Manchester City supporters at the other end. Bright sunshine on the roofs of Stamford Bridge, and Garnacho coming on to replace. It is Andres Santos. Well, so Santos off, Garnacho on. It's a double change. Lavia's coming on as well, and Estevao, who hasn't really been able to threaten in the way that we know that he can. Estevao.
No, still returning to fitness, isn't he, after his time off, and he played last week and got a good reception and good performance against Port Vale. So you want him to be on the pitch all the time, but not sure he's quite there yet. It's a like-for-like swap, and as is Lavia in that central midfield role.
Yeah, so Lavia, former Manchester City youngster, is on against his former team as Semenyo, right side of the box, shoots goalwards. But that was straight at Sanchez, who was able to make the catch, and Caicedo is dispossessed. Doku's in to make it 3-0! Just steered it past the goalkeeper. Caicedo caught in possession. They were all over in Manchester City. That's the hunger that Pep Guardiola's team have. 2 wasn't enough. They've got 3 now. It's Doku, and it's Chelsea 0, Manchester City 3. 3 goals, and it's going to be 3 points.
Relentless in this second half. Doku celebrates in front of the Manchester City fans. Caicedo gets the commiseration from his Chelsea teammates, and it's enough for some of the Chelsea fans. They've started to head for the exit in their numbers. Just rolled the ball out to Caicedo. Looked fairly innocuous passage of play where he just turned out and played the ball, but he's swamped, he's surrounded. Doku benefits and just prods the ball home from 10 yards. It's a romp in this second half of Manchester City. Chelsea have not had a response in any shape whatsoever.
Are you watching Arsenal? In actual fact, they've probably switched off.
They've taken the dog for a walk, I think. It's quite a nice day here now. You can, in London, I think North London will be bathed in sunshine. Take the opportunity. This is done.
Yep. 3-0. And Liam Rossini having just made those 2 changes, but it's not going to make any difference now. Lavia and Garnacho coming on. You wouldn't have thought.
And you look at the way that Chelsea play and the way that they've had their criticisms this season, and I mentioned it earlier on, I mentioned it in the second half. When the game starts to go wrong for them, they don't have a response. When it starts to really sort of run away with them, where is the team, the hunger, the nous just to say, let's dig this time out? And they haven't been able to do that in any shape.
Here is Garnacho with it, and he finds Palmer. And then Cucurella, and Palmer curls it in, and Joao Pedro jumping against Gay. Well, if he did get a touch on that, it was on the edge of the 6-yard box. It was just the tiniest of touches, and it's all the way through for a goal kick. And Manchester City, well, we said, didn't we, as Robbie Savage said during the half-time break on 5 Live, need to find some urgency. Well, they've done that.
Wow, Robbie, there he is. He's obviously a manager in his own right, sees something. Sees an opportunity for Manchester City, and I think Pep saw that as well. You say you can win this in this 20 minutes. You can win 3 valuable points and really heap the pressure on very, very quickly, and he's certainly done that.
And I think for Arsenal supporters, probably the worry will be what Arsenal looked like yesterday and now what Manchester City have looked like today. They're having to defend now. Ball's played in. Mateus Nunes is able to head it away. Caicedo tries the shot. That was blocked on the edge of the box by Husanov. And Manchester City now having to do some defending, but the damage has already been done. The 3 goals scored as Palmer is able to recapture possession. There's a City man down. Cucurella's going to try a shot. Low across the face of goal, but wide probably by a couple of feet. Donnarumma just let it go. And we might have a stoppage here.
Yeah, Rodri.
Because Rodri is down.
Yeah, he's just been caught. I think Caicedo in the build-up, and he's just looking around at Stamford Bridge. You're looking at Chelsea, and you're wondering, how are they going to get into this? How can they even ask a question? Who's going to be that spark? We said Cherki was going to be the spark in his second half, and so it proved. And you just looking around going, where is it Chelsea are going to get that spark from? And it's just not there, is it?
Must be a sore one for Rodri, because he sort of he curled himself up into a little ball, didn't he, into the fetal position, Rodri. Whether it was a knock on the ankle or...
Yeah, it was a tackle from Lavia on the coming through, and he just flicks the ball away, and then top of the foot and the ankle, one foot then the other. Painful.
Yeah. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 3. So on 5 Live, the line's open to talk to Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton on 6:06, just for an hour tonight, though, probably slightly less than an hour before live coverage of the Masters. There is a choice of listening right now, by the way, on Sports Extra 2, Sports Extra 3 and Sports Extra. County Championship cricket coverage. Already today, Somerset have beaten Essex by 10 wickets. But all the way through the summer, all of the matches, the county matches, you will hear on BBC Radio if you go to the cricket pages of the BBC Sport website, or indeed on your BBC Sounds app. You will find them all summer long. Rodri is just being led off the pitch and is being given a drink of water, and it looks like he's going to be able to come back on.
So when you said in the first half, if Manchester City win today, it's in their hands, is it also in Arsenal hands?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
I've waited half an hour to ask the question.
Yeah, I think it was Aaron actually who said that, but I would have said the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And that is the point, isn't it? If
as it is at the start of the season, it's in everyone's hands.
It's in everyone's hands.
Okay.
Yeah. But if they win their next 3 matches, then they'll be all square on points, and it'll depend on the goal difference. And this time next week, it is Manchester City against Arsenal, and then Manchester City play against Burnley before Arsenal play again. Here is Joao Pedro, who's going to try a shot from distance, but that's blocked at source, and it bounces back towards the halfway line. And hopefully during the course of 6:06 we'll hear the live interviews as well with Pep Guardiola and Liam Rossigna, so listen out for that as well. Phil Foden and Savinho are going to be sent on by Pep Guardiola. He's made just the one change so far, and of course neither of these teams are involved in European action this week. So Manchester City will have the full week to prepare for the game against Arsenal, whereas Mikel Arteta and co could be involved in what yet might be a tight tussle against Sporting. Maybe it won't. So Sporting won 1-0 this weekend. A long pass forward for Doku to chase down towards the dead ball line. Doku just is able to get his foot to it. Gusto up against him. He uses Ait Nouri and then plays it back to Bernardo Silva. Yes, do join us Tuesday night and Wednesday night for the Champions League commentaries. See whether Liverpool might be able to turn things around against Paris Saint-Germain. Husanov might try a shot. Oh, not far away. Right foot, 25 yards. Manchester City players with their hands on their heads. If that had found the net from Husanov, that would have been one of the most popular goals of the season.
He ripped that from a standing start, got everything through it. He's got long levers. You know, you can obviously got a venomous strike. drifted a couple of yards wide in the end, but that would have ripped the net.
Doku is coming off, so Savinho and Phil Foden are coming on, and I think it's Shirky who is going to be replaced. And I think with Doku and Shirky coming off, I think that's as close as you're going to get to an acknowledgement from Pep Guardiola that they're players who he wants to look after for next week against Arsenal.
That paints a picture, doesn't it? Who are my key players? Who are the go-to men when we need something? Well, Doku was the man in the first half that they were going to. It wasn't quite happening for him. Cherki was the man in the second half, and wow, that 20 minutes was just sensational from him.
Yeah, he is one of the players of the moment, Ryan Shirky. I think we can say that with some confidence. And the thing about him is that he's got a little bit of David Silva, he's got a little bit of Bernardo Silva, he's actually got a little bit of Kevin De Bruyne as well, hasn't he, in there? Without wanting to build him up too much.
I was going to say Eden Hazard.
Hazard, yeah, that's not a bad one either. And I should say Rob, shouldn't I? We're not saying that he's all of those players rolled into one. I'm saying he's got aspects of all of them. And at 22 years old, well, the world is his oyster, isn't it? Ball is back with Manchester City. They're wearing grey with luminous yellow as Phil Foden's fouled, but they've been more luminous than they have grey in the second half.
Very good. Yeah, they've been... is it electric blue, the home kit? They've certainly been electric.
Sky blue.
Electric blue, yep.
So Savinho is on. Savinho has just had his 22nd birthday on Friday. And Foden as well. They're two players who I'm sure Pep Guardiola would love to see those two get back into some sort of form.
Well, you're thinking, well, you know, this is still time to go. This is still... different answers will be needed in different games, and you'd rather have people firing, especially someone like Phil Foden, who's been there. I was talking before the start of the game, in the whole squad, there's only 6 Premier League winners in this squad. They've still got Stones and Diaz to come back, but guys that have been there have done it, that they can lean on. Looking now, Rodri, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden are the 3 in the mid-centre midfield area. There you go. That's a lot of Premier League winners.
Ball's just been passed back to Donnarumma. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 3 is the score. 0-0 at half-time, but O'Reilly in the 51st minute, Gay in the 57th, Doku in the... was that the 78th? I've made a note of 78. That seems a little bit too late, that. Yeah, it wasn't. I've worked that out. I've not got that right. What was it? 68. Yeah, I can see what I've done there. Here comes Ait Nouri carrying the ball from the halfway line. Comes off Fofana. Oh, curler from Semenyo, but he couldn't get the dip on it, and it flew curling away over the far top corner and into the Chelsea fans in the emptying shed stand, their section of it.
Yeah, the fight's gone out of Chelsea, and Ait Nouri just allowed to run the length of half the pitch, and Chelsea just pretty bewildered now, and it's a forlorn fight for them. Robert Sanchez going long to Garnacho of all pitch. I mean, it's kind of... They've run out of ideas, haven't they, Chelsea? They're there just to concede more now.
Yeah. It was 3 goals in 17 minutes that Manchester City scored. So 3-0 it is. 5 Live and the World Service from the BBC. 6:06 coming next on 5 Live. And then from just before 7:30, the Masters. As Semenyo wins the ball back, it could be more, but he went to place it. And actually, it's like a back pass almost to goalkeeper Sanchez. And a relieved Sanchez just said thank you very much.
Yeah, a really weak shot in the end, but Gusto was equally as weak in the challenge, just slid in and allowed Semenyo just to ride him. And it sums up where Chelsea are in comparison to Manchester City right now, that they can run through them at will. I think that's 2 shots in the space of a minute from Semenyo.
Yeah. And my piece of paper here, Rob, where I've made a note of the chances, tells the story, doesn't it? The first half looks quite even. There are chances on both sides of the piece of paper. Cucurella had the ball in the box, but second half, it's all one side.
We get producer George on the task again. How many touches has Donnarumma had in this second half? It's not a handful, is it?
And another chorus of Are You Watching Arsenal, as Bernardo Silva is the next one who is going to be given a breather, kept as fresh as they can for next week. And actually it's Mateo Kovacic who is making another rare appearance this season with the injury problems that he's had, an ankle injury that kept him out for 5 months, coming back here to Stamford Bridge to play against his former club. Remember, he won the Champions League with Chelsea against Manchester City. And Chelsea now making their changes, and it's heads down, isn't it, as João Pedro leaves the field, and Caicedo as well, with Delap and Dario Isugo coming on into the action with just under 10 minutes to play. Rob Green.
Yeah, we're down into some testimonial time, aren't we, with players coming on with needed minutes, and just to get some legs under the belt. Good to see Kovacic back and playing, and with a very full head of hair. Didn't recognise him, my old teammate, from here, and never really saw him with that much hair when I was playing with him. But it seems it's great to see him back on the pitch, and I think that in turn is a sign from Liam Rosenior as well that this game is done, with Delap coming on for the main man, João Pedro, and Isugo getting some more experience on the pitch with Chelsea.
Yeah, and Chelsea will remain 4 points behind Liverpool. That is 6th to 5th. Fifth, the Champions League places again for this season. Chelsea going central, but Manchester City leading by 3-0. Lines waiting for you on 08085 909 693 to talk to Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton as Cucurella makes a run, should score. It's saved by Donnarumma. In the end, it was point-blank range. It's a lovely pass in for Cucurella's run, but by the time he got there, Donnarumma was virtually in front of him, and he was able to parry away the header.
Yeah, fantastic run from Cucurella. We've seen him do it so often. Laid it back himself and then went for the return, and it's a straight ball, dinked ball in, and Donnarumma thought about coming in and realised it was so good he couldn't stand and make the save, and it is a fantastic save. And as Chelsea highlights go in this second half, that's it.
That's it, yeah. 3-0 Manchester City, as there's a foul on the edge of the penalty area and a free kick to Chelsea on Gusto. He was just caught as he turned, as he was receiving the ball, and it's a free kick just outside the penalty area. It's actually very near the point, whereas we look at it here, as Ait Nouri challenged him, it's almost like a yard back from where the curl of the D meets the edge of the area.
Yeah, you'd pretty much describe it as Cole Palmer territory, wouldn't you? This is maybe a yard too close to the goal for him. I think he's going to have to get this spot on. Donnarumma employing the draft excluder behind the wall, and then a sizable wall that he's got Rodri and Haaland in exactly the points where you want them, where the left foot is going to bend it over a wall. So man 2 and 3, maybe 3 and 4 now. Those small details is what he's looking for, to say left footer over the wall, that's where it's going to go. You jump, you block this shot.
Chelsea 0, Manchester City 3, with 6 minutes of the 90 to play. Cole Palmer looking to get Chelsea on the score sheet. This free kick right of centre. Palmer waits for the signal from referee Kavanagh, who's happy now finally with the 5-man Manchester City wall. 2 Chelsea men to the left of it, as Palmer looks, hits it left-footed low. Donnarumma drops down to his right. He managed to find a space through the wall, possibly between the 2 Chelsea players who are there, but Donnarumma just dropped down to his right and held the ball securely.
Yeah, got everything right there. You look at Cole Palmer, even more important than the save, well, as important as the save was getting the wall right, which allowed him to say there's no way you can get that over that wall and down in time, and just stood and waited, and in the end it looked routine, but thinking the keeper would be nerves.
Haaland is able to carry the ball away, but good challenge on him comes in from Isugo. Dario Isugo still in the relatively early stages of his Chelsea career, because he's had a troublesome thigh injury this season, just his 3rd appearance of this season. Isugo, who was signed from Sporting Ryan Aït-Nouri does well on the left-hand side, then hits the cross that hits Gusto and bounces behind. More Manchester City cheers. It's a corner, but this time it's the skill of Aït-Nouri.
Yeah, wonderful feat. And if he's looking for an example of where the two teams are in terms of confidence and in play, it's just watch that from Aït-Nouri. Just a quick combination between his own feet, beat two men and he was away. You're just looking at a team that have functioned on a different level in this second half.
Aït-Nouri doing a shirky, really, and a piece of drag-back skill wins the corner. Aït-Nouri takes the corner, it bounces all the way across the penalty area as it curled away from the 6-yard box. Savinho was able to take charge of the ball for Manchester City. 5 Live in the World Service from the BBC, live here from West London in the sunshine, the spring sunshine, as Manchester City play it back towards the halfway line again. Lines waiting for your calls on 606. It's a short one tonight, so you better be quick. 08 085 909 693 as Aït-Nouri's cross is blocked behind by Harto, and it's another corner for Manchester City. And you do feel the confidence continuing to build and build for Manchester City. This will be 3 wins in a row, and Josh Achampong is going to be the next Chelsea player to come on, the 19-year-old England under-21 international. Corner to be taken this time not by Aït-Nouri but by Phil Foden. Not scored in his last 21 Manchester City appearances. Foden outswinger. Haaland gets a touch, taken down at the back post by Delap. Not sure he knew too much about that. Was able to control it, killed it dead, and then turned and put it out with his left foot.
Haaland's looking at Semenyo going, what more do you want? It's there for you just to tap in. You've just got to drift in. I think the other way around, and that would have been a goal.
3 goals for Manchester City. Haaland's not got any of them. Cross from Savinho. Haaland jumping for it. Fofana beaten, or rather fouled. Fofana beat Haaland to it in the air, but was fouled by the big man. And the change will see Gusto withdrawn. So Achampong, who can play in central defence, I suspect that will be his position eventually, but will play as right back again for Chelsea.
I'm sure he's as frustrated as anyone. Champong, probably one of the more talented centre-backs at the club and way down the pecking order, and clearly not first choice at right back. I don't think he wants to be first choice at right back, but the results going how they are, you're looking with 3 minutes to go, it's not really a vote of confidence, is it?
It's Chelsea break forward with Garnacho trying to cut back. The ball's deflected across the penalty area though, off Mateus Nunes, and Donnarumma has got it safely. 2 minutes to play, just less than that. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 3. O'Reilly, Gay, what a super finish that was from Mark Gay. Both of those goals set up by Shirky. And then Jeremy Doku scoring for the first time since November. He's not scored, Doku, since the 3-0 home win against Liverpool, which seems, well, it was months ago, over 4 months ago. So his 4th of the season. Palmer again, but Haaland comes back, and the Manchester City fans have enjoyed that. Haaland dispossessing Palmer, who left Manchester City for London and Chelsea. Here's Semenyo down the left, and he's challenged by Achampong. It's out for a throw-in to Manchester City, who will, if you've just switched on this result, well, it's a handsome win, Rob, really, isn't it? That's what you have to say. It means that they'll close to within 6 points of Arsenal.
Yeah, really comfortable in this second half, and they've turned it on when they needed to, and I think that's a worry as much as anything, is that they've been able to turn the switch on.
Savinho with the cross across the Chelsea box, but it bounces all the way over into the opposite full-back position. Aït-Nouri, and then Gay. They're suggesting he might go for another one. Kovacic, and then it's turned by Foden, but beyond Gay's run and through for a goal kick.
So comfortable that they've been able to bask in this sunshine, and just looking at it from a Chelsea perspective as well, that it's been that big a landslide in this second half. Talking how many, John? What, a third full? Is Stamford Bridge now? As is the apathy towards the side now, towards the ownership. There's a lot of questions that need to be looked at for Chelsea, but the story is with Manchester City and the convincing win that has been this afternoon.
We're going to have 8 minutes of added time. which is more than I was expecting, as Cucurella volleys the ball out of play, but it's actually bouncing around in amongst some of the empty seats.
Well, he's not coming back, I don't think. I don't think they want to start again. No.
So it's a throw-in on the halfway line. So this is going to be 3 wins in a row in all competitions for Manchester City since they were knocked out of the Champions League by Real Madrid. But most importantly, it means they will be 6 points behind Arsenal, and then knowing, and they've got all week to prepare for that, while Arsenal will be involved against Sporting on Wednesday night. Manchester City knowing that if they can win against Arsenal this time next week, then it'll be down to just 3 points, and then they would be playing the following Wednesday before the FA Cup semi-final weekend at Burnley, and there may be the opportunity to make it all square. Savinho into the penalty area. Foden could open up for him. It bounces across to Haaland. He shoots on the turn. It was blocked by Fofana, stretching to his left leg, and it bounces away.
Yeah, that was in. That would have been another important block from Fofana. And I'll tell you what it does do, John, is that they can sit here this week now, Manchester City, and enjoy the week off, but it adds to the narrative, doesn't it? It adds to the story, the pressure, the build-up from Arsenal. If Arsenal do win against Sporting Lisbon, it's kind of a shrug. You're expecting that. If Arsenal struggle to get through, that then adds to the pressure. It's certainly been a performance that says, you know, we are here, we are on our way, you better watch out.
And also, this is such a contrast. What we've seen in the second half here is such a contrast to what we saw from Arsenal against Bournemouth yesterday. And now, listen, the cheers of the Manchester City supporters, they're popping it around. Manchester City, second place Manchester City, are toying with Chelsea.
Well, it is a testimonial now, and you're looking at a side that are just so full of confidence. I don't think anyone really wanted the 8 minutes of injury time. I don't think Manchester City needed it, but they're going to enjoy it.
As Haaland lays it off to Ait Nouri. Foden tries to get involved, still Ait Nouri. Challenge comes in from Fofana, it bounces away for Chelsea, who, as well as looking at 3 Premier League defeats in a row, this will also be 5 defeats in their last 6 in all competitions for Liam Rosenior's team. Ball runs away from Neto, and then Gay tries to challenge him. Neto square to Cucurella. Cucurella out to Garnacho, the former Manchester United man, against Manchester City. Then it comes back centrally to Lavia, 25 yards out. And then Manchester City are now back in position. Erling Haaland just standing with his hands on his hips, Rob, on the halfway line, observing the action as though he's looking over a stone wall in the country.
His job's done. He's asking the question, going, do you want me to come back? Shall I come back? He's actually speaking to the ref, Chris Kavanagh, going, why did you add 8 minutes? And he said, what's the point?
He is saying exactly that, isn't it? And there's an offside flag against Chelsea. What was the match recently when the referee added no time on at all? It was Barcelona-Newcastle.
Yeah, absolutely right. If it's done and no one wants to play, 2 captains come together, much like 5 o'clock on the 5th day of a test match, shake hands, let's all go home.
Chelsea 0, Manchester City 3. Yep, join us for Champions League commentary on 5 Live Tuesday night, Wednesday night, and then Europa League commentary as well on Thursday night. And tomorrow night we'll keep you up to date with Manchester United Leeds during the Monday Night Club. And Chelsea, their next match next Saturday night. It's one of those 8 o'clock kickoffs. I'm not sure how popular they are, 8 o'clock kickoffs, but it's Manchester United. So after Manchester City here, George is just ripping up his notes there, incidentally. That wasn't the sound of Liam Rosenior's plan going up in the air. And Manchester United will come here on Saturday night. And that's quite a big one for Liam Rosenior, isn't it? As Ait Nouri will cross left-footed over the top of Haaland. He did get his head to it, taken down by Savinho in the box, puts his foot on it, flicks it back to Mateus Nunes, looking for a fourth, and it comes. Haaland heads it across goal, but Sanchez dives into his left, makes the catch.
Yeah, there's only one thing on the Manchester City player's mind, is get Haaland a goal, get him on the score sheet. They're giving him chances left, right and centre now. And to add to Chelsea's woes, that was more than 8 seconds by Robert Sanchez, and it is a corner. Chris Kavanagh, he just put them out the misery, Chris.
Really?
Come on.
8 seconds?
Yeah, that was on the nose.
I can't believe that. That's the first, I think that's the first, well, That might be the first time I've seen that live, Rob, this season. And, I mean, it's been going on all season.
He needs his points for giving certain decisions, yeah.
Well, he's got, so it's another corner. If they score from this, I mean, that will really rub their noses in it. Foden with the corner, headed away by Fofana, and the referee says he spotted an infringement in there, and it's a free kick to Chelsea.
Yeah, Cucurella is blocked off and now having a conversation. Haaland can't believe it. I think he's been quite bemused in this injury time, Erling Haaland, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. He's still chuntering away. I had a chat with him after the FA Cup tie. When you see him up close, you know, he doesn't look anywhere near as big as he does out on the... He looks like an absolute colossus out on the field, but he's actually, you know, there's not an inch of fat on him. He is in absolutely prime condition. Here is Asugo, and now here is Lavia to Garnacho. Manchester City have got 2 men on him, and you know, that's, as well as the result today, that's just it, isn't it? It's not just the result, it's the message of this.
The manner, the message.
Do it in London as well.
Yeah, and you've also got a side that, I think above anything, just decided to win a game, decided to take the game away from Chelsea. And you contrast that to Arsenal and you say, how are you going to score a goal? We're not quite sure yet. We're not quite sure how we're going to do it. We're a bit clunky, and it's still April and we still haven't decided the best way of scoring this. They've got people who just put their hand up and say, just give me the ball and I'll decide the game.
Yeah, as Manchester City have lost it, Palmer, and then it's worked back by Foden, who was working very hard in there. The City were in danger of giving it away in their own defensive third. We've had 7 minutes of added time, so we're in the final minute of added time. Robbie Savage and Chris Sutton on 5 Live are waiting for your calls. 08085 909 693 for 606. Match of the day tonight on BBC One to watch how Manchester City did this. Watch it anytime. Match of the day on iPlayer, and of course search Football Daily on BBC Sounds. The Ollie Watkins football interview is on there, new this week, as Kovacic is taken out as he tried to take the ball away, and I think it's Asugo, isn't it, who put the challenge in. I think he's hurt himself rather than Kovacic.
Yeah, lesson learned there. Kovacic's bones are made of steel. That is a poor decision.
Yellow card for Asugo.
He tried to kill the attack, he did that. He almost broke his own leg in the process. It's been a harrowing afternoon for Chelsea, a magnificent one for Manchester City.
Chelsea boos. Chelsea and Liam Rosenior have got problems. That, for them, is 3 defeats in a row in the Premier League. They've lost 5 of their last 6 in all competitions, Liam Rosenior's team. But really, this was all about Manchester City. And the way they came out after half-time and scored those goals, 3 in 17 minutes, through O'Reilly, Gay and Doku, with Shirky providing the first 2. Rob Green.
Yeah, turned it on in style in the second half. First half, not a lot to shout about. You're wondering where it's going to come from, how are they going to break them down? Well, they went through the gears, and Shirky just turned it on in such style that they blew Chelsea away at that start of that second half. There was no response. They were brilliant, and the game was won. Job done by Manchester City. It rolls on very, very nicely to next weekend.
Yeah, believe it or not, it is Manchester City's first win in the Premier League since February. But Arsenal, they are coming. What a win this was for them. It's 6 points now ahead of next Sunday, and Manchester City looking fine fettle. Chelsea 0, Manchester City 3 here at Stamford Bridge.
5 Live's Premier League Sunday will take you to the Etihad next Sunday for that game, the Summit battle, Manchester City and Arsenal. Just interesting to see the City players led by Phil Foden heading over to those supporters who have been absolutely magnificent in the second half. And John, what was interesting is at half-time you turned around and said during the FA Cup game with Liverpool it was 0-0, and then within a blink of an eye it was 4-0, and you wondered what had happened. Same thing happened today. It was 0-0, bang, 3-0. They were ruthless.
Yeah, do you know what I think has really got them going this season was when they were heading out of the Champions League. and down to 10 men when Bernardo Silva was sent off. So Husanov is being sent forward to do a few fifth bumps with the crowd. I think that's quite a popular thing, that they're all standing now in a line, but he's a bit of a cult hero, Abdoukadir Husanov. But yeah, that performance against Real Madrid, where they gave absolutely everything, they strained every sinew. I thought they were brilliant in defeat, and actually after that they've carried it on.
You're a man for flags, John. Is that an Uzbekistan flag down there behind the goal? I think it is.
I think you might be right there, Rob.
He's got some home fans here as well.
It's horizontal blue, white and green.
I didn't do geography, I did metalwork, John, so I wouldn't know.
Hence your love of the stand.
Beautiful stand.
Yeah, and Kovacic as well, who's made of steel.
Absolutely. I mean, what a day on Five Live's Premier League Sunday, and what a big result for Manchester City. This is earlier on in Scotland. Rangers have moved to within a point of Hearts at the summit of the Scottish Premiership. That with a 6-3 win at Falkirk. Luton Town have won the EFL Trophy, beating Stockport 3-1 at Wembley. In the Premier League today, Sunderland have beaten Tottenham to leave Spurs 2 points off of safety and very much in relegation trouble. Nottingham Forest are 3 points clear of danger after a 1-1 draw with Aston Villa at the City Ground. Newcastle lose again with a brace on Jean-Philippe Mateta, handing Crystal Palace a 2-1 victory at Selhurst. But in the 4:30 game at Stamford Bridge, Manchester City absolutely ruthless in the second half as they ran out 3-0 winners over Chelsea to move within 6 points of the leaders Arsenal, with the two meeting at the Etihad live on 5 Live next Sunday. We will take you to Augusta, to the climax of the Masters at 7:25. But first, it's time to have your say. 606, the nation's biggest football phone-in is next. 08085 909 693. Get your calls in to Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage.
Are you ready to have your say in the UK's biggest football debate? Your teams, your views. Get ready. This is 606 with Chris Sutton and Robbie Savage on 5 Live.
Welcome to 606. This is your football phone-in show. We're here until about 7:25, taking your calls as Man City try to close the gap on the Gunners.
Caicedo is dispossessed. Doku's in to make it 3-0. Just steered it past the goalkeeper. Caicedo caught in possession. They were all over in Manchester City. That's the hunger that Pep Guardiola's team have. 2 wasn't enough. They've got 3 now. It's Doku and it's Chelsea 0, Manchester City 3.
So, Christopher, some fool give Arsenal the title about 4 months ago. Are you still doing it?
Maybe not. I tell you what, Rob.
What was impressive? Not? You changed it.
Wow. Maybe. Oh, no, I'm gonna stick with Arsenal. But what would worry me if I'm an Arsenal fan? Not Manchester City just beating Chelsea. It was the manner in which they did it.
So why did you give them the title 4 months ago?
Because they looked comfortable then. But yeah, they're creaking.
Yeah, 08085 909 693 is a number to call. Earlier, Spurs, Roberto De Zerbi era started at Sunderland.
Now Mukiele in the shade for Sunderland, coming in from the right-hand side. Will he have the space to shoot? He will. Oh, he deflects! In! It is a fortuitous goal for Sunderland, but one that puts Roberto De Zerbi's Tottenham behind in his first game in charge.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Call free 08085 909 693. Text